of Building 17 was being used as a command center, and the lab of the university was used to carry out experiments with ammonium nitrate to carry out a controlled explosion.
As the investigation into the Delhi bomb blast case continues, the name of Al-Falah University is cropping up again and again. Now, not only the NIA but also financial institutions like the Enforcement Directorate will look into the background and the funding of this entire university. Once this investigation comes to an end, it remains to be seen if Al-Falah University will be able to come out clean, or the results of this investigation will tell us that in the face of this university was something much more sinister being planned.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
After the defeat, the dissent. It's all out in the open, dirty linen being washed in public. RJD's humiliating defeat in Bihar politics is not enough. But what is worse is now that the Lalu Prasad family seems all divided. And this is after daughter Rohini Acharya quit the party yesterday. She said that she was leaving her family as well as their party. But now she's come out with some very, very damaging allegations against her own family members, directly not taking the name of Tejashwi Yadav, but certainly attacking him. Now, in a series of allegations on the social media platform X, Rohini Acharya alleges that she was humiliated, abused and even assaulted with a slipper. But now there's a massive escalation. Bit by bit, Rohini Acharya is making it worse for the Parivar and the RJD. She has heaped further allegations against the Yadav family, mentions her father's kidney transplant. Rohini Acharya said that she was humiliated over the kidney donation to her father, Lalu Prasad Yadav, in Singapore. She has been mentioned that she was insulted for saving her father's life. She goes on to ask her brother Tejashwi Yadav that why didn't you donate your kidney? What she's also said on a social media platform is that they called the kidney dirty, they called her also dirty and accused her of giving a dirty kidney to her father, Lalu Prasad Yadav. My colleagues Brij Mohan Singh as well as Aman Sharma are now joining us. Brij Mohan, was this something which was waiting to happen? Yeah.
I remember 2024 Lok Sabha elections in Saran Lok Sabha seat. She fought well with Rajiv Pratap Rudy. She lost only by 16,000 votes. And recently, when the campaign was going on for assembly elections, she wanted to go to assembly segments. And I must tell you, she was stopped by the family members, especially the close to Sanjay Yadav and Tejashwi Yadav. They said there is no need for you to go and campaign there in the Saran area, which used to be her go-to area. She wanted to contest 29 elections, Lok Sabha elections in that area. So the kind of influence Sanjay Yadav and Tejashwi used to have. So she reacted. She wanted to go during the election campaign when the weather was not good. She wanted to campaign in that area, and she was stopped by the powers to be.
Bank of Baroda के संग त्योहार की उमंग.
Good evening and a warm welcome. You're watching CNN News 18 with me, Griha Atul. Let's begin with the headlines. Rohini Acharya breaks down, attacks Tejashwi's aide again. She says that her parents are standing by her. Speaking exclusively on the RJD family feud, Rajiv Pratap Rudy says in their family, no one has an identity, whether it is Tej Pratap or Tejashwi Yadav. They are all known only because of Laluji. She is angry with certain individuals, not with the family as a whole. Ahead of Bihar swearing in, CNN News 18 accesses exclusive NDA cabinet formula. BJP likely to get 15 to 16 seats, JDU 14 seats, with the chief ministerial post swearing in expected next week. CNN News 18 accesses clinching CCTV footage showcasing I-20 car used in the Delhi blast parked inside the Al-Falah University in Faridabad until October 30th. Big breakthrough in the Delhi suicide bomber Umar Nabi's radicalization nexus. Girl from Imphal confirms contact with Umar. Pan-India outreach uncovered. RSS leader's son Naveen Arora shot dead by bike-borne assailants in Punjab's Firozpur. BJP slams Aam Aadmi Party government over law and order in the state. More than 300 participants take part in centenary foot march of the RSS in Karnataka. Congress MP P. Chidambaram blames Bihar voters for election outcome, says the state did not vote for a strong opposition and the responsibility now lies with the people. We are now beginning the broadcast with some breaking news where we are learning that the National Investigation Agency is making a big breakthrough in the Red Fort area bombing case with arrests of suicide bomber Dr. Umar Nabi's aide. In a major breakthrough in that car bomb blast case, the National Investigation Agency has now arrested a Kashmiri resident who had conspired with the suicide bomber Umar Nabi to carry out the terror attack, which claimed 10 innocent lives and left around 25 others injured. This is Amir Rashid Ali, in whose name the car that has been involved in this attack was registered. And he now has been arrested from Delhi by the NIA, which had launched a massive search operation after taking over the case from the Delhi police. My colleague Ishan Vani on the broadcast now. Ishan, more details on this latest arrest that has been made by the NIA.
Yes, to give perspective to our viewers, we would like to tell that this is the same guy whose picture, if you recall, holding a key from the car dealer in Haryana had gone viral. And then he was called initially Tariq, but then later on he was identified as Arif Amir Rashid. He was arrested along with his brother from his home for the investigation, but he has been formally taken into custody by the NIA. Initially he was, arrested, detained by the J&K police and then now handed over to the NIA. NIA is saying that he is a main close aide of the bomber and he had traveled to Delhi, purchased that I-20 vehicle, and an NIA investigation has pointed out towards it. And what we also have been given to understand is that that he had been in touch with Umar, and eventually the vehicle which was used was purchased by him, and NIA forensically established the identity of the deceased driver as Umar from Pulwama. And the anti-terror agency has also seized another vehicle belonging to him. And the examination is being done. And so far, 73 witnesses, including those injured in the blast that rocked the national capital, have also been questioned and examined. There's a work going on in close coordination between the Delhi Police, J&K Police, Haryana Police, UP Police, and various agencies. And the NIA is conducting raids at multiple locations. But there's a major breakthrough in which Amir Rashid Ali has come out as a close aide who traveled to Delhi, bought that car, handed it over to Umar, and that's what the NIA is right now telling us, that this is the sequence of events that had happened while the car was purchased. Remember, on the very first day after the blast, there's a picture of a man holding a key wearing a spectacle, which had gone down viral. And initially, because the number that was given by Amir was of Tariq, his friend, and that's why they had gotten confused as Tariq. We visited his house to report from there, and they said he is Amir, but they have no clue about if he had ever traveled to Delhi. But he has been now formally arrested, and in the coming days, we might have further arrests taking place by the NIA, because initially they have been done by the J&K police, and now the NIA has taken the charge.
Also, Ishan, do we have the details on when was this car purchased, and what is the latest sequence of events that the NIA has managed to unearth now that this fresh arrest of Amir Rashid Ali has been made?
Well, yes. What we have been given to understand is that he had traveled there a year back, and full family doesn't know exactly when he had gone there. But what we have been given to understand is that he had purchased it because Umar had asked him to do so. That's what is being alleged at the moment. And then he went on to further to hand it over to Umar so that he could carry out this kind of bombing. And there is one more angle to this story, that the family says that he never went there, but the picture has been clicked, which proves that he was well there, and he had gone there, and he had actually made that purchase. And this is now critical to the case, his statements, the sort of evidence that he is able to provide. That will be key to the entire story. And that's what we have to wait and see what kind of statements as we make to the NIA.
And we are putting out that image of Amir Rashid Ali for our viewers on the screen. This is the latest image that we managed to access as the NIA has taken him in custody. Crucial piece of information is going to now flow as he is under arrest, and right now he is being interrogated over his role in this entire blast. More and more details and more conjectures that were doing the rounds, Ishan, are now going to be put to rest. Now, with this crucial arrest that has been made of Amir Rashid Ali, you were earlier telling us about how he was misidentified, and now the identity is almost certain, and that's why the arrest by the NIA has happened. As far as the family members' questioning is concerned, other than the fact that they'd mentioned that he had traveled to Delhi a year back, what else has emerged?
Well, what has emerged is that he had traveled to Delhi and he was there and he had purchased that vehicle, and Umar had given instructions possibly to him to make that purchase, because he was the guy in whose vehicle, even if you see it from the purchase perspective, it was him who had purchased it last. It did not exchange any hands. So how did it reach Umar? That is what will be crucial to the case. That he did sell it to him, because as we reported earlier, the entire area where this incident has taken, between Amir and his house, it's a matter of 6 kilometers. They live from each other. How do they know each other? That will be interesting in the case. And how do they get in touch? Whether there's any handler that was involved in all of this? We'll have to wait and see. But for now, what the details have been given by the NIA, it's clear that the first arrest has been made and he has been called as a close aide of Umar. Though there's a need to prove that link, the link between Umar and this guy, Amir Rashid, that how do they get in touch with their friends? Where did they get in touch with some other third person? Did they get in touch with a handler who was sitting across and trying to pitch this all thing together? But this will be crucial. In coming days, you might hear further investigation, because now the former arrest has been made by the NIA and they'll be interrogating him and possibly taking him to Delhi to recreate everything and to understand what he really.
Right. Do stay on with us, Ishan. We also have our colleague Arunima now joining us. Arunima, an arrest made from Delhi itself of one of the key conspirators as far as this entire Red Fort blast is concerned. Amir Rashid Ali has been nabbed by the NIA, and slowly these details have emerged that he was already stationed in Delhi a year back when this incident really was reported, and it was in his name that the car was bought, and he'd recently purchased that I-20, the crucial car that was used in this entire bombing. More on that.
So the planning, it seems, for this entire operation began well in advance. There was a proper instruction given by the handler that this module of doctors must spread out. They should not be limited to Kashmir, or they should not be limited to Al-Falah and Faridabad alone. So the first step was to spread out. Therefore, one doctor went to Uttar Pradesh, another a smaller module stayed back in Faridabad. There were other supporters coming in from other parts of the country, which the NIA is still investigating. So this car was also procured, and not one car. There are more. At least 3 models and makes have now come up. NIA has also confirmed that they have found one more car belonging to Umar Nabi, which is under investigation. And the role of Amir in all of this, as NIA tells us at this moment, is that Amir knows very well what the design was, why these cars were being procured. He travelled all the way from Jammu and Kashmir to Delhi and then onwards to Faridabad, where he met up with this second-hand car dealer, bought the car. And there's also a photograph which has now emerged where you see him holding the car keys. So it was very clear why this car was being procured. He was aware. During his questioning, he has given details to NIA about how this module was really working. Like I said, this is investigation in progress. There are more people who are currently under detention, being questioned, not just by NIA but by JKP as well. So you could see more arrests happening.
Any details that have come to light on how this arrest was made? How did the NIA get this breakthrough when it is apprehending Amir Rashid Ali?
See, you have to work backwards. So Jammu and Kashmir police, immediately after the Red Fort attack happened, Jammu and Kashmir police was already looking at this case. They had made crucial breakthroughs. And Amir Rashid Ali's name, along with his brother Omar's name, came up during the scrutiny of the paper, because the first person who was picked up after the Red Fort blast happened was from Gurgaon. He said he had sold it to a second person, and subsequently the trail led them to the Faridabad second-hand car dealer. From there, when it was further questioned as to where the car went, that is when Amir and Umar's, the brothers, their name came up. And this picture was also, usually, when anyone gets a new car, the car dealer also clicks a picture just to congratulate them. Sometimes they even frame it and give it to them. So I think for that purpose, this picture was clicked. But this picture then came in handy for the investigators. When NIA took over the case, they went on to question Amir Ali. And their press release has made very clear that during the questioning, it was clear that he was aware why this car was being bought, but he was still part of the conspiracy, and therefore he bought that car, took it back to the module and handed it over, knowing very well that it will be used as an IED carrier.
Also, Arunima, there was some amount of misidentification because earlier when that picture had emerged of him standing next to the car with the car keys, he was, I believe, identified as someone else. It's now finally clear that it is, in fact, Amir Rashid Ali who had bought that car.
So the initial identification came up as Tariq. And it seemed that, Amir was taking this delivery on behalf of Tariq, but later probe clearly revealed that, this was just a way to confuse the investigator. The paperwork in this case is deliberately kept, that's what the investigators feel, that after under the Motor Vehicle Act, you have to transfer the name of the owner correctly. So the initial sale, that protocol was followed. But ever since Amir Ali took over this car, the paperwork was all over the place. So it was difficult to establish who the real owner was. But NIA, I think, has carried out a detailed identification. It has carried out searches at Amir Ali's residence as well. There were searches carried out, family members were spoken to, and based on all these collective evidence, they've decided to go ahead and arrest him in this case.
Right, Arunima, thank you so much for all of those details. We also have our colleague Ankur now joining us live on the broadcast here on CNN News 18. Ankur, this is a major breakthrough that we're talking about in the Delhi blast case. Recently happened, 10 people have lost their lives. There are so many people who have been injured. And now finally, one of the key conspirators is under NIA custody.
So far, NIA has taken has questioned 73 people, and importantly, in the recent press statement, which Arunima was also talking about, specifically they have mentioned that it was vehicle-borne IED, VBID, which normally we say that this is the same thing which was used by to attack a CRPF personnel in 2019 during Pulwama attack. This VBID has taken many lives, many forces' lives also, and in this particular press release also, NIA has categorically termed this as VBID. Importantly, now the person who has been arrested by NIA is Amir Rashid, who actually had the driver, the Umar. His identity has already been established through forensics, and NIA has clearly stated that Umar was driving the car. Rashid helped Umar in purchasing the car. In fact, the photo which is now on the screen, this was clicked at the time of handing over the keys to the buyer, and this particular photo helped NIA, another investigation agency, to finally reach to the dealer who actually bought them the car, and after that they also finally reached to Amir Rashid, who actually bought the car and helped Umar and later handed over the car to Umar, who finally traveled through all across half of the Delhi with this car, and finally the car was got blasted at Red Fort. Back to you.
Ankur, do we have any details on how did the NIA go about apprehending Amir Rashid Ali? How was he finally in the clutches of the NIA?
So, according to the NIA, total 73 witnesses NIA examined so far. So you can understand the gravity of the investigators, how they are investigating, how speedy the investigation is going. And during the course of investigation, they found that the car was bought by some other person. It was not Umar who actually bought the car. And after getting a detailed inquiry, they went to the dealer. Also, dealer told them there was some other person. Certainly, at the time of handing over the keys, or whenever someone tried to buy a second-hand car, the buyer has to submit few documents, which includes documents related to the RTO registration office also. So through those documents, NIA finally reached to Rashid, and they got to know that it was Rashid who bought the car, who helped Umar to get the car, and finally Rashid was arrested by NIA.
Right. Any initial details that are trickling in from the questioning of Amir Rashid Ali, the fact that he already was in the know of why were these cars, and these are not just one, there's not just one particular car that one is talking about, because I-20, as we have been mentioning to our viewers, was also seen in CCTV footages inside the campus of the Al Falah University in Faridabad. But there are other cars in question too that he was asked to procure from his handlers.
Yes, certainly. So this is very early stage, and certainly the NIA will be questioning him, Rashid, and further the case will, get the investigators to some other key conspirators through Rashid. And importantly, after the questioning and the interrogation, now since the NIA has arrested Amir Rashid, so certainly he will be produced in the court, and the NIA would demand interrogation. And during the interrogation, NIA will find out some other links, some key conspirators who had Umar in executing the whole plan.
Right. Ankur, you were just mentioning about the vehicle-borne IED device that has been established. Let's put out that exclusive piece of information for our viewers. Days after the Delhi blast that took place with a car, in this case the I-20 car, alarming new intelligence inputs are now warning of Jaish-e-Mohammed linked plot for a deadly vehicle-borne improvised explosive device, or the VBID. This is a form of attack in the Kashmir region that has often been used by Jaish, and now something similar has been witnessed in the national capital region. The security forces have been in fact asked to treat every abandoned object or a vehicle as a possible threat. Ankur, these are very, very grave details that are emerging.
Yeah, Greya. So, according to the sources, recently, just a few days after the Delhi blast, a fresh intelligence input has been sent to all the forces, especially in Jammu and Kashmir, and dedicatedly in the part of South Kashmir, that there is a possibility the terror outfit Jaish-e-Mohammed is planning Delhi-like VBID blast in Kashmir, and they have also asked all the forces to be always alert and always treat any undeclared, basically unsuspicious, any suspicious item or suspicious vehicle as a threat. They do not get involved directly into by touching it, or do not take it very lightly. And according to the intelligence input, the ISI and the Pakistan-based terror outfit are also planning in terror attacks on security forces. So this is the latest input as per the sources which has been sent to all the security forces deployed in J&K. This input is very, it is not very different from the Delhi-based blast. It was in the Delhi-based blast also, like we also spoke about it. The car which was used, NIA has termed it VBID, which is by vehicle-borne improvised explosive device. And in the same, this intelligence input, which is according to the sources, has been sent yesterday only to all the forces, that the same manner the terror outfit Jaish-e-Mohammed can execute another attack in Jammu and Kashmir, and all the security forces are now on high alert, especially in the Naka and road opening party. They have been asked that please ask your troops to be ensure 100% strict vigil while dealing with some suspicious vehicle around them. Back to you.
Right, Ankur, thank you so much for all of those details there. So every possible threat cannot be ignored, and this is what the security forces have been asked to do. That is to treat every abandoned object or even a vehicle as a possible threat or possible source of a vehicle improvised IED. That is what we are learning of as far as this latest piece of information is concerned. We'll keep an eye on this big story as the investigation is unfolding more and more details. But right now, we go into a very short break.
This is News18 Network. India's largest news network.
After the defeat, the dissent. It's all out in the open, dirty linen being washed in public. RJD's humiliating defeat in Bihar politics is not enough. But what is worse is now that the Lalu Prasad family seems all divided. And this is after daughter Rohini Acharya quit the party yesterday. She said that she was leaving her family as well as their party. But now she's come out with some very, very damaging allegations against her own family members, directly not taking the name of Tejashwi Yadav, but certainly attacking him. Now, in a series of allegations on the social media platform X, Rohini Acharya alleges that she was humiliated, abused and even assaulted with a slipper. But now there's a massive escalation. Bit by bit, Rohini Acharya is making it worse for the Parivar and the RJD. She has heaped further allegations against the Yadav family, mentions her father's kidney transplant. Rohini Acharya said that she was humiliated over the kidney donation to her father, Lalu Prasad Yadav, in Singapore. She has been mentioned that she was insulted for saving her father's life. She goes on to ask her brother Tejashwi Yadav that why didn't you donate your kidney? What she's also said on a social media platform is that they called the kidney dirty, they called her also dirty and accused her of giving a dirty kidney to her father Lalu Prasad Yadav. My colleagues Brij Mohan Singh as well as Aman Sharma are now joining us. Brij Mohan, was this something which was waiting to happen? Rohini Acharya was certainly not very comfortable with her sidelining within the party. Was this supposed to happen and expected that once the results come out, it's going to be all guns blazing and the drift becomes very clear?
I remember 2024 Lok Sabha elections in Saran Lok Sabha seat. She fought well with Rajiv Pratap Rudy. She lost only by 16,000 votes. And recently, when the campaign was going on for assembly elections, she wanted to go to assembly segments. And I must tell you, she was stopped by the family members, especially the close to Sanjay Yadav and Tejashwi Yadav. They said there is no need for you to go and campaign there in the Saran area, which used to be her go-to area. She wanted to contest 29 elections, Lok Sabha elections in that area. So the kind of influence Sanjay Yadav and Tejashwi used to have. So she reacted. She wanted to go during the election campaign when the weather was not good. She wanted to campaign in that area and she was stopped by the powers to be in the party.
That's very intriguing there, Brij Mohan, because that is where, why didn't Lalu Prasad Yadav step in? Why didn't Tejashwi Yadav say, no, my sister should go?
That is the kind of...
RBI कहता है जानकार बनिए
सतर्क रहिए.
Welcome back. You're watching CNN News 18 with me, Griha Atul. We are now getting some more breaking news on the broadcast, and this is concerning Rohini Acharya as she's gone on to level serious charges yet again against the Lalu Prasad Yadav family. She has, in fact, this time targeted Tejashwi Yadav and his aides alone. And this is what she has gone on to say. I have already said everything in my Facebook Live. Please ask this question to Sanjay Yadav and Tejashwi Yadav. Yesterday, even my mother and my father were crying. When I asked them the questions, they told me to go back home. It was my brother who pushed me out. My sisters, my mother and my father are all with me. Unquote.
रोहिणी जो बोलती है सच बोलती है और जिसको भी कंडेम करना आकर के सामने मेरे सामने बैठे हैं. आप ये बात जाकर के तेजस्वी यादव किसके शहर पे हुआ है उनसे जाके पूछिए, संजय यादव से पूछिए, रेचल यादव से पूछिए, रमेश से जाके पूछिए. नहीं, पिताजी मेरे साथ हमेशा है. कल मेरे माता पिता भी रो रहे थे, मेरी बहन रो रही थी मेरे लिए. मुझे बस इतना ही कहना है कि भगवान ना करे कि आप लोग के भी घर में कभी मेरे जैसी बहन बेटियां हो. जिस घर में भाई हो, भाई लोग का ही योगदान होना चाहिए. काहे सारा बलिदान बेटी लोग दी. और जब बेटी कुछ सवाल पूछे तो आप बोल दीजिएगा कि आप ससुराल में जाओ, तुम्हारा शादी हो गया है. बॉम्बे घर है, बॉम्बे में रहेंगे 10 दिन.
Let me take this across to my colleague Pallavi Ghosh, who is now joining us on the broadcast. Pallavi, this latest comment by Rohini Acharya is looking like this family feud is pretty much out in the open. She's married out of the family, and of course, these are the allegations that are being leveled against her for not being intrinsically involved with not just the family dynamics, but also in turn the RJD or the party dynamics. I think that did not go down well with her, and things really went south and have turned ugly for not just Tejashwi Yadav, but also the entire RJD. And this time, this latest reaction is also her singling her brother out and his aides.
I mean, if you get me right over here, the fact is that Rohini Acharya's comments are something which is now obviously putting the RJD into a bit of a spot. Look, it's bad enough the kind of poor performance that they have come up with. It's bad enough that even in what was considered to be strongly their traditional bastion like the Yadavs, even there they seem to have been somewhat shattered. But now someone of their own, someone from within the family, and that too a woman, someone who is considered to be very, very close, obviously, to the family. And what is the thing is that she also had given that kidney to her father, Lalu Prasad Yadav, is now coming out in the open, making all those facts very clear. And, you know, it is washing dirty linen in public. Obviously, the BJP gets an issue. But apart from that, the larger point raised is that is this defeat leading to an increasing dissent? Are there going to be more voices within the RJD who are going to end up agreeing with Rohini Acharya? Till now, everyone has been silent because elections were going on. But will they start speaking out in support of what Rohini Acharya has said? Not so much of a criticism against Tejashwi Yadav, but more the fact is that what she said about Sanjay Yadav and what she said about Abis, because there have been many within the party who have been making the point that, Sanjay Yadav is the only one who has controlled the ticket distribution as far as the campaign is concerned. And those who have been with the party earlier have not been able to get any access to Tejashwi Yadav.
Right, absolutely, Pallavi. Thank you so much for that perspective. In fact, we are getting some more breaking news now at the moment where we are learning that the swearing-in ceremony of the NDA is going to be held at the Gandhi Maidan in Patna, and this is going to be taking place on the 20th of November. Significant NDA leaders, including the Prime Minister Narendra Modi himself, are expected to attend this swearing-in ceremony. NDA is preparing to make the swearing-in ceremony a rather grand affair, we are told. So this is what we are learning of. Remember, we were telling you on how the swearing-in ceremony is going to be held on or before 22nd of November. Now we have a date. 20th of November is when the swearing-in happens. It is going to take place on at the Gandhi Maidan in Patna. On the 20th of November, the Prime Minister will be in attendance along with other major leaders, big leaders of the NDA, of the Bharatiya Janata Party, the JDU, of course, and the other alliance partners like the LJP. Two key figures who are going to be taking the oath will be, of course, the chief ministerial face for the NDA, that is Nitish Kumar, and the possible deputy CM face, which will be Chirag Paswan. This is what we are learning of as far as the swearing-in ceremony of the NDA is concerned. We are now getting some more breaking news on the broadcast, and this is a CNN News 18 exclusive input on Taliban-Pakistan relations that have hit a completely new low. All Afghan traders are instructed to minimize, in fact, trade with Pakistan as much as possible. Traders are asked to use alternative available routes for the transit of goods. After Pakistan's arm twisting, we're told the Taliban has banned Pakistan's access to Central Asia. The Taliban has, in fact, closed the Khyber Pass and the Torkham border route by blocking the Khyber highway. And top Taliban sources have also claimed that Islamabad's plan is to be a hub for Central Asian trade, and that plan is going to collapse. Khyber Pass is Pakistan's only land getaway, remember, to Afghanistan.
غواړي په داسې کلکو او معتبرو تضمینونو به ورسره خلاصیږي چې په هیڅ ډول حالاتو او شرایطو کې یې بیا ونه تړي. خلاصېدل غواړي.
My colleague Siddhant is now with us on the broadcast. Siddhant, big developments that are coming in. Afghan traders told to minimize trade with Pakistan. In fact, there is a blocking of a major route. The only land getaway that Pakistan has, that is the Khyber Pass, will be blocked.
Well, that's right. So this is Pakistan's main road link into Afghanistan and onwards to Central Asia. This means no Pakistani trucks, no exports, no transit cargo can move through this corridor. In fact, top Taliban sources are telling this to Manoj Gupta that after the Islamabad plan is to be a hub for Central Asian trade will collapse. Khyber Pass is Pakistan's only land gateway to Afghanistan, and Afghanistan is Pakistan's only land route to Central Asia. The Taliban's deputy PM Mullah Baradar has said that the Pakistan route is high risk for Afghan traders. Once this route is closed, Pakistan cannot reach Uzbek, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, Kyrgyzstan and Kazakhstan. Pakistan is going to lose millions in potential Central Asian market access. Pakistan traders face higher transport costs rerouting via Iran or sea. Now, Taliban sources are telling this to Manoj Gupta that Pakistan is repeatedly shutting Torkham on its own for security, political or counter-terror reasons. Now, Kabul is using the same tool as a balancing act. This is an insult to us every day if they say our land is used for terror purposes. Back to you.
Right. Thank you so much for that, Siddhant. And with that, it's a wrap from my side. News and updates continue on the broadcast.
This is News18 Network. India's largest news network.
After the defeat, the dissent. It's all out in the open, dirty linen being washed in public. RJD's humiliating defeat in Bihar politics is not enough. But what is worse is now that the Lalu Prasad family seems all divided. And this is after daughter Rohini Acharya quit the party yesterday. She said that she was leaving her family as well as their party. But now she's come out with some very, very damaging allegations against her own family members, directly not taking the name of Tejashwi Yadav, but certainly attacking him. Now, in a series of allegations on the social media platform X, Rohini Acharya alleges that she was humiliated, abused and even assaulted with a slipper. But now there's a massive escalation. Bit by bit, Rohini Acharya is making it worse for the Parivar and the RJD. She has heaped further allegations against the Yadav family, mentions her father's kidney transplant. Rohini Acharya said that she was humiliated over the kidney donation to her father, Lalu Prasad Yadav, in Singapore. She has been mentioned that she was insulted for saving her father's life. She goes on to ask her brother, Tejashwi Yadav, that why didn't you donate your kidney? What she's also said on a social media platform is that they called the kidney dirty, they called her also dirty and accused her of giving a dirty kidney to her father, Lalu Prasad Yadav. My colleagues Brij Mohan Singh as well as Aman Sharma are now joining us. Brij Mohan, was this something which was waiting to happen? Rohini Acharya was certainly not very comfortable.
Namaste, Jai Bharat. This is Anand Narsuman and with me Lieutenant General D.P. Pandey. Just the last time we sat across with each other, General Sahab, we spoke about Shatrubodh. We spoke about needing to understand the nature of the enemy and to treat the enemy that way. We also talked about the fact that it is okay to be good, but we should not be nice. 10/11 has happened. The details that unfold also point to certain threats and certain developments which you, when you were serving as GOC 15 Corps, had highlighted. White-collar terrorists, hybrid terrorists, and intelligent, educated minds, supposedly progressive, highly radicalized to the extent that they believe that Ghazwa-e-Hind is mandated and should happen. Now, these are details that are coming out. Let's start from there.
Yeah, so I'm so glad now I'm listening this, a lot of anchors and a lot of people are coming and talking about white-collar terrorists. When I coined this term as white-collar terrorist and hybrid terrorist, I can assure you there was a lot of pushback on me, not only from my environment, military environment, because, people are very uncomfortable when you start looking things differently and, you try to, and also from other elements from, where there's a lot of pushback. Why are you calling? OGW is good enough. I said this OGW term is required to be fixed at small little entities who are running on the ground, carrying a weapon from here to their place or driving a terrorist from one place to another. But what we are totally missing out is a person who's having a cup of tea with you and me, sitting with us, evolved, enabled, empowered person who's got enough money in the bank, he's running a successful business, he is working as a government functionary, or he's taking, he's a doctor, engineer, IT professional, he's talking to you. He's a great friend of yours, but he is using his position of power to be a factory of radical terrorists and radical people. Right? And this distinction, if you don't make it, you are going to go after the people who are running with pennies. But the guys who got the pounds will always be left out, and they are the factory. Because these people are all disposable. You can kill hundreds of terrorists, but this mind, when there remains, they are the ones who are shaping, identifying, collecting, getting the funds. They are the people who are running the things. And you need to get after the people who are behind separatism, radicalization, terrorism. And so that is how I term this white-collar terrorists. Guys sitting in US, Germany, they are talking, they are on payrolls, which is quite evident on the social media and stuff which they are talking and the way. And the youth used to come out and tell me, sir, ye call aa raha hai, this is the call I am getting, this is this thing, why are you working with the army, why are you working for government, why can't you, educated youth coming and telling. So that educated people are targeting educated youth to work for them and not for the government, or be Indian, be loyal to the tricolor. So the fact is that till the time you don't segregate this and start understanding that how that ism, when we say, takes control of people who are intellectual, intelligent, invest in them, and they continue to work through that so that the chains are larger. So I'll not talk about certain universities here where radicalization is seeped in, and thereafter they keep on progressing. They'll join civil services, they join into politics, they go into worldwide environment to continue to, excite people against our country. But I'll just simply talk about this nexus. I'll give an example of doctors. Do you think that we are not aware of that doctors are involved in it? Today, I hope you remember in one of the matches with India and Pakistan, if in a particular medical college or a hostel, there is a celebration happening, what do you think those doctors who were celebrating in that manner, and those doctors under whose watch it was being allowed without getting punished or getting a punitive this thing, they are going to be in love with our country or our tricolor? So those things are already there. Unfortunately, we'll come back to your last discussion we had. We want to be great, good people, nice people, encouraging people, secular people. When I say secular, is not secular. Be secular, but don't be sick, right? Just remember that when you spare the rod, that guy is only keep on going to come back and hit you at you. You're only encouraging. This problem of government of India or our nation or our strategic community has been that we have always fed milk to the poisonous snakes. Those who are with you, we have always disregarded. And let's go back to Kashmir. In Kashmir, everybody who's with you, we always tell them, "Theek hai, ye to apna banda hai, isko badi keep him on the one side." But our funding, money, encouragement, power, everything will come out. The people who are like separatists, Gilani, and such like thing, everybody will encourage. Talk to them, give them more money. They will be yours. That snake is never going to be yours. It is only going to come back and bite. It will wait for its own time and get more entrenched, create more numbers, and thereafter come and bite at you. Important that take care of your people who are with you. Encourage, nurture. That is how an insurgency is broken all over the world. Right? It is broken when you encourage your own people, you put them into the places, they start running the show. What happens is a larger neutral section of society, which is watching this game, they realize that if I'm going to cry, if I'm going to do blast, if I'm going to look radical, everybody is going to come and talk to me and encourage me, ki nahi, aap theek hai, we'll take care of you, don't worry. So the shift keeps on happening. And this becomes a tool of blackmail to the larger country, to the government of India.
No, but you're saying you engage with those who are with you. Okay, those who are actually standing up for the tricolor, and the larger majority is the one that is peaceful. They want to see economic prosperity, and they understand identifying with India helps them, and they are happy to do that. But look at this story. Let's look at this story. How did they all stumble? And we got these details. 17th, 18th October 2025. Some Jaish posters are put up in Nogam. It's done at the insistence of a Maulvi who's handling the mosque in Nogam. His cronies and his acolytes are the ones who have, at his instigation, gone ahead and put this poster. Usually, जहाँ तक मेरा understanding है, वो poster लगाते हैं, कुछ देर रहता है, उसकी photo ले लेते हैं, then they send it back to their handlers saying हमने चिपका दिए. But they also remove those posters because they don't want to be seen. Now, these posters used to happen before 2019, ना sir? ये सब तो पहले होता था. These are all chronic stone pelters who have stopped pelting stones. That's what their antecedents have come across. This guy, Maulvi Irfan, was a paramedic at Government Medical College in Srinagar. वहाँ से वो मस्जिद के अंदर चला गया, मौलवी बन गया. Now, is the local intelligence apparatus not watching these people? If these things are surfacing again, what does this mean? And if I'm educated, I'm supposed to have the ability to discern, right? What is radical, what is far right, what is diabolical or against humanity itself, and what is a ideological or political point of view. There are two structures here. How is it that these people are ready to succumb to such vitriol? How do they succumb to what a Masood Azhar or a Rauf Asghar are sitting there and sitting as sarganas of Jaish, proscribed terrorist organization? How is a doctor in Jammu and Kashmir ready to see those videos and say, oh, that's the reality? Because they are seeing reality around them. So how is it that they're ready to believe this kind of vitriol and nonsense?
So
yes.
Firstly, there are two larger questions. That how does it happen? Is the local intelligence sleeping or what they're saying? Okay. And the second question is that how do they believe? Let's be it be slightly more contentious when I speak on it, and you can take a call to edit it or not edit it.
No, sir, nothing.
No, you can always, because
you have the right to speak your mind here on this platform.
The fact is that the religion per se is a revisionist religion, right? So it will continue to consume. It'll bide its time when it's suppressed. It'll come through other means, because this is how it's been taught as well. But eventually it has to continue to expand, and that is how it has been able to persevere even against the Christian religion per se. Look at
the
what's
Crusades, despite the Crusades over centuries.
It's a subtle manner by using variety of principles of victimhood or superiority or a thing about what is borrowed from socialism of certain degree of equality, right? And that continues to shift in the mind of people. So you may be the top leadership, the mayor of New York, but your mind will continue to perpetuate what you have started believing over a period of time, right? You may be the mayor of London, but eventually you will not talk about grooming of 13, 14, 15 years of this thing, because firstly, it's a male-dominated. It seems the women are slave, and they will continue to do all this. So that was not the case in Jammu and Kashmir, especially in Kashmir, because Kashmir technically, historically, has been a matriarchal, all hillsides or mountains, women naturally control the families. But when the shift has happened over a couple of centuries, this has been ingrained in the mind of people even in Kashmir. So I'll keep this religion part aside, but this is the challenge. So therefore, it is not about only watching online content. There is a huge amount of discussion which happens on two facets, right? We are being targeted by the Indian state. So more educated I am, much more faster it is for me to start believing in it, right? That is unfortunate. I can talk to an old farmer sitting on a farm who's working who's tilling the land. He will still be modern. But the guy who doesn't have much to do, but he's intelligent, is intellectual, his mind can be shaped very quickly by talking about the larger global war on terror, like what is happening, what is American expansionism, imperialism. These languages look very nice and resonate from a person who is reading, right? And then he will very quickly relate it to an Indian state, and I'll like to fight against the state, right? So these are issues which have been exploited by the local top leadership as well. After all, the stone pelting concept did not start 10 years back or 20 years back. It started in Kashmir way beyond in 1930s. Actually, when the stone pelting was used as a system to control the narrative there. And you know exactly whom I am talking. He's the person who started all that. So we forget that history part, and we just very quickly come to these doctors who are falling prey. These are not the doctors. The guys who struck in 9/11 were engineers who were trained in America. They're pilots, they're evolved people. Guy who's led Al-Qaeda, who raised Al-Qaeda, is a person who's the richest man. So when the seed of radicalization comes to your mind, it can come to anybody. But it's much more easier to talk to a person who's not educated and tell him that you're going wrong. And he will accept it. But a person who's educated in GNU, in a great university where free thought is allowed, that rhetoric, when a person keeps on talking, I saw the clip of this latest JNU, SU, this thing that one of the women was talking, the way she was talking, that rhetoric, when you repeat time and again, how can you change after 1 year to start saying I was wrong? Even when you know you were wrong, right? So that gets embedded, and there are people who will come from variety of remote corners, they'll sit together. It is like ragging over a period of time when you know you're getting ragged. You know it is wrong. But the moment you go to the second year or third year, you start believing it's my turn to rag. So it gets embedded. So there is one part. The second part I'll quickly answer is about the intelligence. Time and again, intelligence failures happen because Indian state is not about Jammu and Kashmir. We are reactive. Bomb फटता है तो आग लगती है, right? We are not. It's not in our DNA to look into the future what is going to manifest, right?
कि बॉम्ब फटने से पहले उसको रोक दें.
So that is a challenge because most of us are actually paid government of India. This thing, मुझे ऊपर से आएगा. So you will find few people like Sandeep Chaudhary and all, who's the Srinagar SSP. There are quite a lot of police officers who are there, Jilani and stuff like that and all. They're all young people who will take proactive, preemptive actions to catch hold of a person. You catch hold of these guys, take him to for detention, and suddenly you find sitting a bureaucrat or a judicial guy who will say, "Nani, it's not enough." And after a couple of weeks, he's let off, or first he'll not be allowed to be this thing. So there is an ecosystem over 30-35 years at the lower and middle rung, which continues to defeat not only in Jammu and Kashmir but all over our country in terms of being fair.
In this case, what happened is, I think because that poster was left, they were alert. They said, "ये आए कहाँ से? Who's putting out these posters? और अब क्यों लगा रहे हैं? 4-5 साल से तो लग नहीं रहे थे." And then they stumbled upon Adil, and the J&K police here, I would like to, their credit is also due, that they stumbled upon, they made this arrest, they come down to Hyderabad, to Faridabad, then they go to Saharanpur, they arrest that person. All these arrests are made. Now, and then you realize that this guy, एक भाग गया, अपने साथ कुछ ले गया, और desperation में उसने जाके ये काम कर दिया, because या तो पकड़ा जाऊंगा या तो मर जाऊंगा. Remember the J&K police had also put out saying that you can run but you cannot hide. तो इशारा कर दिया था that we know where you are, तेरे धर लेंगे भाई. तब this guy has done it. What I'm trying to say is that should they have kept the whole thing under wraps till they caught the person?
This whole thing came out on a debate yesterday also, and a lot of people were, we can all, when the event happens, we can always go back and keep on telling.
Hindsight
is a great thing. But let's give the credit where it is due. Firstly, they caught, right? The operation started from 14th till 10th. It was under wrap. After all, nobody was knowing about it till 8th. Eventually, when such a large-scale discovery is made, you got two options to do it. It will go out into media. 3,000 kgs worth of ID making material.
Yeah.
Can you hide it from the public? You know, you're going to a place, there are videos being made, everything is coming out, stories coming out, multiple stakeholders are involved.
But they have accumulated it over a period of time, ना सर. उस गांव के अंदर, उस घर के अंदर 3 टन का यूरिया पड़ा हुआ था और अमोनियम नाइट्रेट पड़ा हुआ था. किसी ने कुछ बोला नहीं कि साहब इतना सारा यूरिया यहाँ पड़ा क्यों है? ये तो डॉक्टर हैं, इनको क्या करना है इसका यूरिया का? Nobody raised this alarm.
Yeah.
They stumbled on it. I'm just saying.
So, but then the choice was to just keep, how much keep you pressure down? When the media is asking, ये क्या हो रहा है, you're picking up a chap, you are taking him to this thing, you are taking a doctor into a custody. You look at the brouhaha which is going to happen. Kashmiri hai, isliye people are targeting. He's a doctor, why are you taking him? But then somewhere the police has to come out and say, make a statement that this is what has happened. So I will not take Jammu and Kashmir police or Haryana police or whosoever came about and announced they did what they did was right. The second is also, when you're exposing this network, you imagine when you're talking about it, then even when I hear, then I start looking around, people become aware of it. That is where the rush and chase happens. That is when the door starts slamming on Dr. Umar that you can't come to my house, you stay on the run. You know, these are all designed. Would they have known that he's gone with a couple of kgs or barrel worth of ammonium nitrate with him? We don't know. Now it is only Dr. Umar who can come and tell about. So there are, if it had happened through announcement, right, then possibly you would have been very happy about the success. Let's not go back into time and start castigating organization how it did. What they did at that point of time was a decision they took. It was not about taking credence and stuff like this. I think they had to inform with the media, the judiciary, the people who are handling in the putting the chap onto judicial custody for interrogation, all have to be informed. It will come out into the media, so they've informed.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Now,
second, I'll just quickly,
please.
I'm sorry.
I just want to cover 2 more aspects before we run out of time. That's why.
You know, the thing is, नहीं तो काट देना बाद में.
नहीं काट देना थोड़ी दाल में put out everything.
Which there's a lot of discussion which is happening that he blew himself, right? Or did it happen?
गलती से पड़ गया.
Why was he there for 3 hours? So there can be multiple theories on it. I just wanted to put 2 theories. These are waiting for 3 hours to get instruction that you blow up, right? So when you are going as a suicide bomber, you will possibly go single. You will not carry another chap. Now there were 2 chaps or 3 chaps. People are talking about it. Second is, he was possibly hiding in that location. What my theory is, he was possibly hiding in that location for darkness to move. Because he knew he is under spot, he is being checked. The move at the time when the most traffic is there, the police will not be able to catch you, and that is time you move out to get out. So that is time the traffic is also highest, and the police cannot stop each and every vehicle to check the way they have to check. Right? So I think he was going, something wrong happened. Right? Was it a prepared ID? But what surely I know, that having announced, put this man onto the rush or whatever happened, they have ensured the number of casualties was reduced. If this was organized, well planned, put into a place as a vehicle-borne ID, where larger number of people were, you know, everybody who got, the impacts were taken by a number of vehicles, you know. So therefore the casualty rates were possibly less. You imagine this vehicle was parked in a place on a crossing or some place.
Or he just drives it into a market, or that entire Gauri Shankar Mandir ke aage pura passage, so many people walking around there.
So one doesn't know where he was going, what purpose, but I surely feel
that he was using the dark to get out.
To get away, and I don't think he had the courage to die.
Now, the other thing is, should this not worry everybody that largely the valley is silent? Nobody said anything. Neither has the Ulema Council said anything, nor have the group of imams. None of them has come out and condemned and said, how can somebody like this do it from a mosque? The medical association has kept quiet. Nobody is saying anything. The political voices have all condemned and said, sorry, galti ho gaya. But nobody's come out and, the usual noise that they all make is not there.
So, why are you looking at Jammu and Kashmir?
No, I'm saying across the country. I'm saying across the country.
Why do you think that not... In fact, there have been political voices which I find totally ashamed of, that they have been trying to link with Bihar this thing. I wanted to put out a tweet on that, and I just from a platform, I can just say, Bihar will not vote for national considerations. In fact, in our entire country, when the voting starts, for Lok Sabha, there is a different trend. For assembly elections, there is totally different trend. Any number of terror attack is not going to influence the caste or class divided system in which we follow at the level of assembly and at the local council elections. Nothing.
Nothing, correct.
So if Lok Sabha elections are happening, maybe one could have drawn this thing. So a number of people say, that Karnataka mein election tha, idhar election tha, to ek incident ho gaya. They want to all relate all this. But he was running. How can you orchestrate a running guy who wants to blow himself up or gets blown, right? How do you trigger all these things? This whole investigation of 14, 20 days. So I think putting too much into election is something very, very sad. But what is totally worrying me is that medical guys, none of these top association leaders, right, be it part of Tejashwi, Bar Council, anybody, this whole chatter on the Twitter is coming only from a common citizen, a concerned citizen, who's not able to comprehend how to manage this environment.
Yeah, no, and the rest of them they're not saying anything. They're not saying anything about anything, and it's sad, but it's a statement. We have limited time, so I just want to bring out another aspect. We've got to understand that there are more accomplices. They actually wanted to create sleeper cells. तैयारी करके रखो, जब समय आएगा तब बताया जाएगा. That kind of a thing that they were accumulating all of this so that it can be disseminated at the right time. They were busy radicalizing more people. There are 2 more female doctors who are involved. They are under the radar. They've been picked up in Jammu and Kashmir. But they studied at the Dhaka Medical College. We've just got information. ISI set up a cell. They have officially announced that they've set up a cell. There are 8,000 students from Jammu and Kashmir who are studying in Dhaka right now. And the ISI is going to try and make a move on this lot. Now, is that not a clear threat for us? Now, how does Bharat respond to something like this? To counter
when I was
a narrative or an official
brigade commander and a GOC, this issue when we used to raise that on a back of an envelope, when Gilani writes, or these top religious or so-called separatists write, to get a visa, passport was made. Me and you can go run around for a passport, it will take time. But the passports were made, right? Visas were given into these 3-4 countries where they go. They go to Iran, they go to Dhaka, to Bangladesh, they go to Pakistan, and Pakistan thing got stopped, right? By the time I became a GOC and thing got raked up, and the centralized institution for passport also came in slightly late. But there's a whole zing bang, thousands of guys who have gone and studied. You think
Turkey also is involved.
Turkey. Anybody who goes to study there, he's not going to be food for fodder. He is or she is, right? And if you're going for getting a subsidized education, you may not become a doctor, but you will surely be attempted to be radicalized. And when radicalization is happening within the country through variety of systems, when you have somebody in person to be radicalized, why should you not be? So why do you feel surprised that ISI and the extremist element which are anti our country are not going to use an opportunity every time? If you go out not only to this place, you go to any part of the country, world, there will be somebody who will come out and start talking about wahan pe kya ho raha hai, kaise ho raha hai, the religion is being targeted, we are being targeted, you have to fight for it and things. Why should they not do it? People do it.
What do we do?
So you have to keep a watch, you have to not send, you have to disallow, you have to ensure you go and study in Dhaka. You tell me that why is it so cheap there to study, right? If Dhaka and Pakistan medical fraternities were so good, why those people are coming here for treatment to India, right? So why should we not have layers of test to ensure that such people who go and study there, they are tested? You look at this example of how silly it can be in our country, and we are totally blind to it. I was not aware. There is a Mata Vaishno Devi medical college which has just been opened in next to Katra or something, Out of 50 students who were enrolled, 80-85% students are from one particular community, right? So everybody, if anybody thinks, and this thing I brought...
That's because, Hindus are not a minority in Jammu and Kashmir, especially in Kashmir. They're not a minority because they don't have the minority status because despite their numbers being low. RT does not apply. Hindu institutions cannot have, admissions only for Hindus. But that privilege is given to madrasas, that privilege is given to churches, and schools, missionary schools and also Jain schools, etc. But for especially Hindu schools, it's not done.
So when you know and everybody knows, so what is the present government for 11 years has done about it? Question to be asked. So, I remember General Rawat visiting me when I was a GOC Kilo Force. And when I proved the statistics to him that point of time, because, there is a whole rhetoric, unemployment, lack of opportunities is the one which is driving people to pick up weapons. So I started my briefing by saying, sir, so everybody in Jharkhand, Bihar, UP should be picking up guns and weapons and, because...
They should all become terrorists, yeah.
They should all become terrorists and possibly, if they pick up weapons, I think the government of India is going to then invest more time in them to ensure that they are duly empowered. Unfortunately, they're not picking up, right? It is all about, and I had that statistics, the people who got education, employment are far more radical than the people who don't.
Right. On that note, we will hit the pause button here. Although we don't know when that unpause button will be hit. That's a conversation for next time, viewers. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Namaste. Jai Bharat.
Jai Bharat.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
After the defeat, the dissent. It's all out in the open, dirty linen being washed in public. RJD's humiliating defeat in Bihar politics is not enough. But what is worse is now that the Lalu Prasad family seems all divided. And this is after daughter Rohini Acharya quit the party yesterday. She said that she was leaving her family as well as their party. But now she's come out with some very, very damaging allegations against her own family members, directly not taking the name of Tejashwi Yadav, but certainly attacking him. Now, in a series of allegations on the social media platform X, Rohini Acharya alleges that she was humiliated, abused and even assaulted with a slipper. But now there's a massive escalation. Bit by bit, Rohini Acharya is making it worse for the Parivar and the RJD. She has heaped further allegations against the Yadav family, mentions her father's kidney transplant. Rohini Acharya said that she was humiliated over the kidney donation to her father, Lalu Prasad Yadav, in Singapore. She has been mentioned that she was insulted for saving her father's life. She goes on to ask her brother Tejashwi Yadav that why didn't you donate your kidney? What she's also said on a social media platform is that they called the kidney dirty, they called her also dirty and accused her of giving a dirty kidney to her father, Lalu Prasad Yadav. My colleagues Brij Mohan Singh as well as Aman Sharma are now joining us. Brij Mohan, was this something which was waiting to happen? Rohini Acharya was certainly not very comfortable with her sidelining within the party. Was this supposed to happen and expected that once the results come out...
It is a decisive verdict in Bihar, so decisive that it has proven all political pundits to be wrong in their estimates of the margins of an NDA victory. With 202 seats, the NDA has decimated the opposition, putting up its best performance since 2010. And Nitish Kumar will be back as the Chief Minister for the 10th time. But how did this happen? What went so wrong for the Mahagathbandhan in this crushing defeat? Hello viewers, this is Aman Sharma and welcome to Homework, where we will be decoding all this and much, much more. Stay with me as two of my women colleagues from Network 18 will join me to discuss if it was the 10,000 Chunav. Lok Janshakti Party's young woman MP Shambhavi Chaudhary will also be joining us exclusively. "89 seats won by the BJP out of the 101 it contested, an 88% strike rate. 85 seats won by the JDU, which also contested 101 seats. and 84% strike rate. In fact, the JDU had almost doubled its seat tally from the last assembly elections when it had shrunk to just 43 seats. CM Nitish Kumar has made a loud statement. But look at the decimation on the other side. From being the single largest party in 2020 with 75 seats, the RJD has crashed to just 25 seats this time. The strike rate of Tejashwi Yadav is just 17%. Since the RJD contested the maximum number of seats among all major parties at 143. The Congress has performed worse, winning just 6 seats out of the 61 it contested, a poor strike rate of just 10%. This is the worst performance of both the RJD and the Congress party since 2010 in Bihar. RJD still has the largest vote share with 1.15 crores votes cast in its favor. While the BJP has got nearly 1 crore votes, the JDU has got nearly 97 lakh votes and the Congress has got 44 lakh votes. But in the complex alliance maths of Bihar, the translation into seats were decisive, with the opposition reduced to just 35 seats and the ruling Bihar alliance notching up 202 seats. There were two big flop shows as well. Prashant Kishore's Jan Swaraj party did not win even a single seat. Mukesh Sahani's VIP also won nothing. Clearly, they both were grossly overrated. Now let's break down the exact issues that surged the NDA ahead and the issues that pulled the Mahagathbandhan back. No rhetoric, no noise, just the clear takeaways from the ground. What worked for the NDA? Number 1, the rupees 10,000 scheme for 1.3 crore women. Nitish Kumar's rupees 10,000 assistance for women became one of the most decisive factors in this election. For many women voters, this wasn't just a cash transfer. It felt like economic security and continuity of Nitish's welfare first approach. This created a strong and loyal women's vote bank for the NDA. Number 2, PM Modi's Katta and Jungle Raj messaging. Mr. Modi's campaign hit hard on law and order. His repeated warnings about Katta and a return of Jungle Raj struck a chord, especially with first-time voters, women as well as urban voters. It revived old memories and framed the NDA as the safer choice. Number 3, the free electricity scheme. Well, the promise of free power for all domestic consumers cut across caste and class lines. Electricity is universal, and this scheme helped NDA tap into lower income households and rural families who saw an immediate benefit. Number 4, Nitish Kumar's personal image. Despite political flip-flops, Nitish still retains credibility in Bihar. His governance record, women-centric schemes, prohibition and administrative style gave NDA a trusted face. In tight contests, this personal goodwill mattered. Number 5, development backed by the centre. Roads, expressways, bridges, rail work, central schemes and overall infrastructure support helped the NDA project a development plus stability narrative. Many voters felt the NDA ensured progress and continuity, not disruption. Now, what did not work for the Mahagathbandhan? Number 1, the shadow of Jungle Raj. The old image of lawlessness associated with the RJD refused to fade. Even though Tejashwi campaigned on jobs and development, the legacy image stuck, hurting the MGB's credibility. Number 2, even the Yadav vote leakage. Well, for the first time in many years, a section of the core Yadav vote seems to have shifted away from the RJD. The reasons are many. Local dissatisfaction, Nitish's credibility amongst older Yadavs and BJP's outreach strategies. Even a small leakage was enough to damage the MGB in close seats. Muslim votes also seem to have slipped away in Himachal, where Asaduddin Owaisi's party has won 5 seats, hurting the Mahagathbandhan. Number 3, the unrealistic job promise. While Tejashwi Yadav's massive job guarantee did generate enthusiasm, but ground voters doubted its feasibility. Many saw it as a political promise, not a practical plan, reducing its impact on final voting. Number 4, the weak Congress performance on 61 seats it contested, a very poor strike rate with just few seats won. The party failed to mobilize voters or strengthen the cadre, dragging the alliance overall. The seat distribution proved costly for the Mahagathbandhan. Number 5, the SIR controversy became a non-issue. What the opposition thought would become a major election flashpoint ended up having zero traction. Voters didn't see it as a priority and the issue faded, wasting valuable campaign time for the MGP, courtesy Rahul Gandhi. In short, the NDA's mix of welfare, women-focused schemes, strong messaging and Nitish Kumar's goodwill created a winning coalition. The MGP, despite high energy rallies and big crowds, couldn't overcome the old perceptions, weak allies and messaging misfires. There are two more X factors too in this election which have a link from the past. First, the Bihar poll results are proof that Rahul Gandhi's chor or chori claims can't steal Modi's thunder. It was Chaukidar Chor Hai campaign in the 2019 Lok Sabha elections and it was Vote Chori in the 2025 Bihar elections. Both slogans were the brainchild of Rahul Gandhi and both have led to spectacular poll losses for the Mahagathbandhan. This will be some food for thought for the Congress party over how it is tackling the Modi-led BJP. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has predicted that the Congress could split in the future. In fact, people resoundingly rejected Rahul's charge against Narendra Modi in 2019 with a massive win for the NDA in the centre. And in Bihar, people have again rejected the charge of Rahul Gandhi that votes were being stolen by the BJP. The Chori campaign of Rahul Gandhi has no takers, with his party reduced to just 6 seats in Bihar. The other X factor is maybe the guilt of 2024 elections amongst the voters, which has led to massive voting in the favour of Prime Minister Modi. Well, it is a well-known anecdotal and psychological fact that people of India felt a sense of guilt after 2024 Lok Sabha polls when BJP got just 240 seats. As a result, they have voted decisively after the Lok Sabha elections in the favour of the BJP. Haryana, Maharashtra, Delhi and now Bihar. Remember the evening of 4th June 2024 at the BJP headquarters? Mr. Modi came to address BJP workers after the NDA returned to power for the third successive time. However, the mood was not euphoric. The fact that the BJP finished at 240 seats was not lost on anyone. The image of a disappointed Narendra Modi travelled to every corner of India. It was maybe then when the people of India instantly felt that they had wronged a man like Modi. And they felt that they will not fail to support Modi wholeheartedly going ahead. What happened next? BJP returned to power in Haryana. The NDA swept Maharashtra and the BJP won 132 seats. Then came Delhi, where the BJP won for the first time in 3 decades. And now came the Bihar tsunami. This is a strong message from the country's people in supporting Modi. This also shows up in the fact that the total number of seats won by the Congress in the 6 assembly elections since 2024 is less than the number of seats won by the BJP in Bihar alone. The Prime Minister also mentioned this on Friday. While the BJP has won 89 seats in Bihar, the Congress has won just 80 seats together in the last 6 elections, including Bihar. People have firmly rejected the Congress since 2024. Remember, Bihar is India's 3rd most populated state. People from Bihar are known for their hard-working nature and are present in every part of the nation. Bihar is also roughly 89% rural. Thus, rural India is standing firmly with Narendra Modi. Bihar voted for dignity and self-respect. So is it simply the 10,000 Chunav, which was also all about the safety and the security of women too? Let us hear it from the women themselves. First up, our newsmaker, Lok Janshakti Party MP Shambhavi Chaudhary. So I am joined now by our newsmaker, Lok Janshakti Party's young MP from Samastipur and the party's prominent woman face, Shambhavi Chaudhary. Shambhavi ji, thank you so much for joining us on CNN News 18. I would start off by asking you that did women play a decisive role in supporting CM Nitish Kumar in this election win? Because it seems so from the record numbers that the NDA has notched up in Bihar.
If you take the past Vidhan Sabha election performances also, women have always been NDA voters and they have silently always advocated for a strong position for our Chief Minister Nitish Kumar ji. There was never a doubt that the women will not come out in support of NDA because I think they are strongly with NDA. They remember their condition prior to 2005 and they remember that their lives have been honestly changed after NDA came to Bihar, and the whole idea of empowering women, making them financially independent, helping them advocate for their rights, especially rural women. They all remember all these things, and they have largely come out in support of NDA. Across caste lines, that is. Across the caste line, you will see that women have collectively come together for NDA.
So, would you say that has financial independence in 2025, become the biggest driver of women's political choices? The rupees 10,000 scheme, for example, by Nitish Kumar seemed to have worked wonders, and this is being called now the 10,000 election.
See, I think this is a very restrictive approach to look at it, because it's not just about the 10,000 rupees that were transferred to the women. It's also about who helped them through their entire life cycle. If you look at Nitish Kumarji's journey from 2005, he has been continuously advocating for women's rights. He has helped them get educated. He has worked for their health. He has worked for their security. If you talk of Cycle Yojana, Poshak Yojana, if you talk of 50% reservation to create women leaders at Panchayati Raj level, if you talk about domicile for women jobs, he has continuously been working for women. And it is not just in 2025 that the women have come out in large support for Nitish Kumarji. This was also very visible in 2020 and 2015. So I think it's a very restrictive way to look at it, but definitely women do feel empowered, and financial independence is a huge thing in 2025. If we talk of rural women, it definitely brings about a very positive change in their life, and you cannot deny the fact that women are feeling empowered today because of Nitish Kumarji.
Ma'am, has lawlessness, always worked against the Mahagathbandhan in Bihar? You too, as a young girl, may have seen it firsthand in Bihar.
Definitely, lawlessness has been a big issue, and it has always worked against Mahagathbandhan. People remember how their lives were hijacked by lack of resources, maybe, and they constantly lived in fear. The ability to be able to live without fear independently and to follow what one's instinct is, it's a big political freedom that the people of Bihar have got, and they will continue to, I think, negate any kind of ideology that associates with Lalu Yadav ji and his family. So I don't think, as a young girl, I would never want anything or anyone having to do with Rashtriya Janata Dal to come back in power. And it's not just me. There are like a lot of women voters who constantly say that no, we cannot have RJD back, because we remember that we lived in fear for so long.
Well, that's a very strong statement, ma'am. Moving forward on the political part, has Chirag Paswan's acceptability truly risen above caste and religion? Lots was said when your party got 29 seats to fight in these particular elections.
I think a lot has been already, answered by our performance. There was a lot of negative propaganda against the Lok Janshakti Party that we will not be able to perform as we've performed in our prior elections, and we were continuously saying that Chirag Paswanji's acceptability is beyond caste and religion, and he is getting a lot of support from voters. But definitely the results show that Chirag Paswanji has been able to convert a lot of votes and consolidate a lot of votes in favor of NDA, and Lok Janshakti Party will definitely emerge as an undoubtable force in Bihar politics in the near future. Chirag Paswanji's acceptability in Bihar has increased manifold, and the results are basically a proof of that.
So what's next for the LJP, if you would say? Will your party ask for a deputy chief minister post given your performance? More ministers maybe in the Nitish Kumar government now?
I think right now our focus is to deliver on our promises that we've made through the elections, and to do our bit for a Viksit Bihar and Atmanirbhar Bihar. That is our priority, and that is what we're looking forward to. Ministry birth and whatever the other political gossip may be, that's not our prime focus right now. That is for the top leaders to understand, and whatever decision our party's National President Shri Chirag Paswanji makes, the party is going to stand with him.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on CNN News 18, Shambhavi ji. And on the other side, we speak on to the News 18 Chopal. We speak to our two women reporters who travel to the ground. Since this win is a lot about the woman voter, we'll speak to Shivangi Dwivedi as well as Madhuparna Das on what their impression is of the Bihar election results. This Bihar election was a lot about also being called the 10,000 Chunav, because this rupees 10,000 scheme given to women, 1.3 crore women by CM Nitish Kumar, seemed to have been a big hit, and that is what seems to have brought this big mandate for Nitish Kumar and the NDA. So today we decided to have an all-woman panel to discuss this. Two of my colleagues, Shivangi Dwivedi and Madhuparna Das, who actually travelled to the ground in Bihar, spent many days there, spoke to women voters as well. And Shivangi, when we see this result today, did you expect this? Did you in your travels also see women voters totally backing Nitish Kumar, and that is why such a result has come?
Definitely, I did see a lot of women voters backing Nitish for the same reason that they have been speaking against the RJD. I say this because while I was traveling throughout Bihar during the elections, I saw a lot of women voters, especially the 10,000 Chunav that you are speaking about. So the women were really happy to receive that amount in their account. उनका आत्मविश्वास था उस चीज़ में, and they had this if you say कि नीतीश के ऊपर जो विश्वास था, they could actually see कि वो करके दिखाएंगे. And दूसरी तरफ था जंगल राज, when you speak about it, women's safety when you speak about it, because people wanted कि जो जंगल राज उन्होंने 20 साल पहले देखा है, they do not see it again. And जो अब जो sweep देखा गया है, हालांकि we would definitely call it a clean sweep, because we did not expect this to happen. Of course, we were expecting 130, 140, but now we are seeing approximately 183 for NDA, and we did not expect it to be a clean sweep like this, especially for RJD and Congress. We are seeing that it could not perform at all. So the women were playing a major role over here, and there were a lot of schemes going on. I think NDA cracked it. NDA cracked that the silent voters, they are going to make the difference for them.
But not just, I think 10,000 Chunav is one thing, the women's scheme is one thing, but Madhuparna also, I think the law and order, that also weighs a lot on the mind of the woman voter. Do you think law and order, and especially the way the Prime Minister spoke from the stages, warning the voters that, the Jungle Raj could be back if RJD is back, do you think that also did the trick beautifully for the NDA?
Yeah, that's right, Aman, because the way we were tracking the campaign and how the campaign progressed for both the alliances, NDA and Mahagathbandhan, what we could see at that point of time, NDA's campaign was very coherent, it was absolutely coordinated, while Mahagathbandhan's campaign was a bit incoherent, because Congress was talking about something, Tejashwi Yadav was talking about something else. But NDA always, from the very beginning, they kind of focused on 2-3 factors. One is, of course, this law and order issue, like Prime Minister's speech about that katta. So that, I think, resonated well with the voters and the women voters. Nitish Kumar also had this, as we also discussed earlier, Nitish Kumar had this first movers advantage. The way he started the scheme and the beneficiaries, they started getting the money, the cash way before the election, so before the election even started. So now when they see that, okay, the benefits, it was DBT, the benefit is reaching them, they hope for the second installment, third installment. So that is how Nitish Kumar, who aced in social engineering always, and he got a captive vote bank in women voters. And I think women voters now form Nitish Kumar's spine, the spine of Nitish Kumar's electorate. That's the backbone of Nitish Kumar's electorate.
And we saw when we spoke to women voters, you also spoke, I also spoke to them, and they're saying that humne bakri kharid liya, bachada kharid liya, sewing machine kharid liya. So actually they've gone ahead and also spent this money. So that is also a big source of empowerment, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's the ground reality. So there are some leaders, we have seen how the leaders in Mahagathbandhan, how they were saying, at times they were really sounding like they are absolutely outliers and they are losing the ground connect, you know, because how the women voters are thinking, if they are also talking about the women voters. Tejashwi Yadav, you know, in a later stage started talking about employment, migration, but I still feel that he made certain promises you know, about government jobs and all. He somehow failed in touching that raw nerve. He could not explain what he is going to promise. And as we all know that Bihari voters, women, men, women, even the young voters, the first time voters, they are very aware, they are very intelligent voters, they know what they are going to get, and they are very transactional in that sense. They know that what they are going to get, how their caste, how their community is going to be benefited. So all these kind of factors they always they had in their mind and they considered it. So I think that is something that really acted in favor of the NDA.
Well, Shivangi, taking off from that point, that, you know, Tejashwi Yadav was appealing in a big way to the young voters, saying, I will promise you jobs. And young voters, a big chunk is also young women voters.
Right.
But I traveled around Patna and I saw, you know, young women even late at night having dinners at restaurants, you know, cafes. Even outside Bihar, I could go to smaller towns and I could see women had acquired this liberty, you know, to even stay late at night. So you think at the end of the day, young women, yes, they want jobs, but security is also paramount?
Security, freedom, and as we were discussing before, Aman. So when we speak about Mahagathbandhan, when we speak about Tejashwi or RJD did not have an exact action plan or blueprint, you'd say, that if they are going to promise you security, if they're promising you freedom, how are they going to implement it? If they are promising you jobs, how are they going to implement it when they come into power? On the other hand, if you talk about Nitish, when Nitish, as Madhuban was also mentioning, that Nitish has formed a spine of women voters. So Nitish started working on this particular vote bank since 2005. If you remember, when he came into power in 2005, he started this bicycle yojana, where he sent the installments directly to the kids, to the young girls' accounts. And after that, those girls who received those installments in 2005 are now the young voters who are voting for Nitish Kumar. So that's how he has been working to form his silent voters vote bank. Now this vote bank has obviously played into bringing Nitish back into power, but on the other hand, as we were speaking for RJD, freedom is definitely one thing, job security is another thing, but if they are promising that, RJD could not convey it to their voters, how are they going to actually implement it? Whereas Nitish or BJP or NDA as an alliance, they actually showed the people that this is the first installment that we are giving you. This is how things are going to work. This is how Patna or Bihar is going to change. The Bihar, the Jungle Raj, it's not going to come back. You will have your security. Bihar will have its freedom, and Bihar's young voters will even have options and career options in Bihar itself. So that's what they promised, and that's what they're trying to deliver as well. So again, I'm saying कि करके already दिखा दिया, and करेंगे नहीं करेंगे, that question mark is always there for RJD or Mahagathbandhan. So that's why I think that's one point that played into on a positive note for NDA.
So when you traveled around Bihar, you must have met some women voters. Do you have an anecdote from maybe one of the women voters told you why they would vote for Nitish, or maybe did any young women voters say they vote for Tejashwi?
So yeah, I was in Mithila Anchal, Madhubani. I was traveling towards Madhubani from Darbhanga, and I stopped in a village. The name was Manigachi, and it was very close to Nepal border. The people, of course, illiterate, the women, of course, illiterate, but when asked who would you vote for, they just said one line, अब 10,000 खाते में आ गया है तो फिर तो नीतीश बाबू को ही करेंगे ना. So that is what. So the 10,000 again, it played a very, very, very major role in delivering the results that we are seeing today.
Same with you, Madhuparna. Did you pick similar anecdotes when you traveled to the ground with women voters?
A little different, because like in the region that I traveled, all these gangster seats and all, like Mokama, Siwan, Bakhtiarpur, all these kind, also Raghapur, all these areas. So I was also speaking with the women voters, and as you also mentioned, the young voters who availed that bicycle benefits and all these schemes. Now they are first time voters, so they remember Nitish Kumar for that, and they are, of course, might have voted for Nitish Kumar. But when I asked that, you got 10,000 rupees, now what you are going to do? Are you going to vote for Nitish Kumar for sure? So of course they are silent. They always like to keep the card close to their chest. They don't say. But what they said that पैसे से नहीं खरीद रहे हैं. They talk about a lot of other things, lot of developmental issues. They spoke about the law and order issues. They are increasingly, I mean, I heard this, they are saying that, my daughter, my cousin, my friend, or let's say I would not be randomly picked up by or eve-teased or be abducted by anybody. So that kind of security I have. At least I can venture out of my house post 5 p.m. which was not allowed like 5 years, 10 years back.
Well, the consensus from the woman power in Network 18 is very clearly that why the woman voter has rallied behind Nitish Kumar. And I have this last anecdote to end this particular episode of Homework, that I met these two young girls, I think their names was Sweetie and Pinky, in a cafe in Samastipur having lunch at a place, and I asked them whose voters you are, and they said, we don't have jobs, we have just passed out of graduate college, we are not getting any jobs, so we want to vote for Tejashwi Yadav, but our mother has warned us that if you vote for the RJD, maybe you will not be able to go to this cafe for lunch or in the evening and dinner. So we are double-minded. Right. I think this is the dilemma which the woman voter also faced, that though the young woman voter may have wanted jobs and may have had some faith in Tejashwi Yadav's promise, but at the end of the day, it is the law and order and the security which matters the most for the woman voter of Bihar, and maybe they have answered this with the mandate, the historic mandate which has come for Nitish Kumar and the NDA in these Bihar elections. That's all from me for this episode of Homework. Please join me next week when we dissect another big political or policy issue. This is Aman Sharma for CNN.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
After the defeat, the dissent. It's all out in the open, dirty linen being washed in public. RJD's humiliating defeat in Bihar politics is not enough. But what is worse is now that the Lalu Prasad family seems all divided. And this is after daughter Rohini Acharya quit the party yesterday. She said that she was leaving her family as well as their party. But now she's come out with some very, very damaging allegations against her own family members, directly not taking the name of Tejashwi Yadav, but certainly attacking him. Now, in a series of allegations on the social media platform X, Rohini Acharya alleges that she was humiliated, abused and even assaulted with a slipper. But now there's a massive escalation. Bit by bit, Rohini Acharya is making it worse for the Parivar and the RJD. She has heaped further allegations against the Yadav family, mentions her father's kidney transplant. Rohini Acharya said that she was humiliated over the kidney donation to her father, Lalu Prasad Yadav, in Singapore. She has been mentioned that she was insulted for saving her father's life. She goes on to ask her brother Tejashwi Yadav that why didn't you donate your kidney? What she's also said on a social media platform is that they called the kidney dirty, they called her also dirty and accused her of giving a dirty kidney to her father, Lalu Prasad Yadav. My colleagues Brij Mohan Singh as well as Aman Sharma are now joining us. Brij Mohan, was this something which was waiting to happen? Rohini Acharya was certainly not very comfortable with her sidelining within the party. Was this supposed to happen and expected that once the results come out, it's going to be all guns blazing and the drift becomes very clear?
I remember 2024 Lok Sabha elections in Saran Lok Sabha seat. She fought well with Rajiv Pratap Rudy. She lost only by 16,000 votes. And recently, when the campaign was going on for assembly elections, she wanted to go to assembly segments. And I must tell you, she was stopped by the family members, especially the close to Sanjay Yadav and Tejashwi Yadav. They said there is no need for you to go and campaign there in the Saran area.
Welcome, you're watching World 360. I'm Akanksha Swaroop. This week, Pakistan pulled off a coup most unlike the others in the country. No tanks, no guns, no military might or midnight takeovers needed. This was Pakistan's quietest coup. Why? Because it's constitutional in nature, attributed to Islamabad's puppet regime under Shahbaz Sharif. Not surprising why Pakistan's President Zardari quickly passed the 27th Constitutional Amendment Bill. So what does that mean? To put it simply, it makes Field Marshal Asim Munir more powerful, even superior to Pakistan's top court. In fact, it's the boldest military consolidation of power by any military leader in Pakistan, something which neither Zia-ul Haq or even Pervez Musharraf could pull off. So what does this power shift mean for Asim Munir, Pakistan and most importantly India? For starters, Field Marshal Asim Munir now becomes Chief of Defence Forces. That means the Navy and the Air Force are now under him. Also, the country's nuclear and other strategic assets. But most importantly, Munir will now enjoy lifelong immunity from any legal action, meaning he can never be prosecuted for any of his acts, effectively putting Field Marshal Asim Munir above any law in Pakistan. In a post-Pahalgam India, that too when the Delhi blast accused have alleged links to Pakistan's Jaish-e-Mohammed, what will Munir's unbridled power mean for India's security landscape? Remember, Munir borrows from the theocratic military doctrine of Zia-ul Haq. He has weaponized draconian laws to silence dissent, reducing opposition and journalists to mute spectators. So given the lack of public support and economic success, how will Munir justify his iron grip over Pakistan? Does that mean new conflicts with India to rally nationalist sentiment? I bring you the headlines. US Secretary of State Marco Rubio condemns the Delhi 10/11 blast, labeling it a terrorist attack and expresses full solidarity with India. US President Donald Trump has signed a government funding bill ending the record 43-day-long shutdown, leading to financial stress for federal workers who went without pay and stranded scores of travelers at airports. Peace talks between Afghanistan and Pakistan breaks down as Islamabad insists that Kabul assume responsibility for Pakistan's internal security. Pakistan's parliament votes to give Army Chief Field Marshal Asim Munir new powers and lifetime immunity from arrest and prosecution, a move that critics say paves the way towards autocracy. And Trump administration officials have held meetings at the White House to discuss options for military operations in Venezuela. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar met with Canadian Foreign Minister Anita Anand for the G7 Foreign Ministers meet, where they met for their third time this year, a reflection of momentum in the bilateral relationship between India and Canada. Pakistan's National Assembly has passed the 27th Constitutional Amendment Bill. The 27th Amendment grants sweeping authority to Munir as Chief of Defence Forces. This gives him command over all military branches. He becomes the Supreme Commander and is now in charge of Pakistan's nuclear arsenal. The amendment also grants him lifelong legal immunity, placing the Army Chief on a level equal to the President and above the Prime Minister. The amendment eliminates the position of Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff Committee. Both the Air Force and Navy are now subordinate to the Army, further consolidating the Army Chief's superiority over other services. Honorary military titles have also been converted into lifetime designations. A new federal court for constitutional cases has been established. This reduces the role of the Supreme Court. Judges will now be appointed directly by the government. However, the new court cannot ratify acts of high treason, effectively shielding state institutions and the military. The vote, held amid a ruckus in the lower house, saw 234 lawmakers in favour and only 4 against, Speaker Ayaz Sadiq announced. The session was attended by top political leaders that included Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif, PMLN President Nawaz Sharif and PPP Chairperson Bilawal Bhutto Zardari. Let's try and get in a perspective in terms of what will be the ramifications of such a power consolidation in the entire region. And for that, let me bring in my guest today. I'm joined in by Kabir Taneja of ORF. Thank you, Kabir, for joining me on the broadcast. Let's begin with what will Munir's power consolidation mean for the overall polity of Pakistan, given its own fragile internal security, whether at the hands of BLA or even a failed ceasefire with the Afghan Taliban?
Right. So look, this is Asim Munir basically going down the Ziaul Haq route in Pakistan, right? The opportunity for the army chief right now to solidify power based around an argument that there is a dire security threat to Pakistan is something that happens in Pakistan, commonly. So now, if you see the Pakistani press, they've been saying that they are ready for a two-front war with the Taliban on this side, with the Indians on the other side. The fallout of the talks between Afghanistan and the Taliban, that is, and Pakistan and Turkey was also, there were some reports, basically the Pakistani sides leaking information saying that the Taliban did not sign any kind of understanding or agreement with Pakistan because of Indian pressure and so on and so forth, which is all obviously rubbish. But this is basically Pakistan and Asim Munir solidifying power inside Pakistan for the long term. We saw the constitutional amendment to that effect. And we also sort of saw in the recent past, whenever Shehbaz Sharif, the Prime Minister, whatever he is now, in his foreign tours, whether it was to Saudi Arabia, whether it was to the US and so on, Asim Munir was always there as a shadow behind him. So this was coming. I think this was being built up by Asim Munir specifically after Operation Sindoor and what happened with India. And he may not be the very overt Pakistani leader and may not be sort of the face of things for the time to come, but they definitely will be pulling all the strings behind the civilian administration.
Kabir, in a post-Pahalgam and the recent 10/11 blast in New Delhi, India is being confronted by a resurgent wave of terrorism, particularly the white terror module. What will Munir's power shift now mean for India's own security landscape?
From an Indian point of view, I think they should have expected something like this to happen, specifically in Kashmir. Maybe they did not expect Delhi to be targeted again, but Pakistan has very few cards in its deck. It cannot go for a conventional war. It doesn't have the economy for it. It may have military sort of strength to do a short-term exchange like it did around Sindoor, but for a long-term exchange with a country like India, it doesn't have the economics for it. So the only thing that it can go back to is lighting up Kashmir once again, as it has done repeatedly over the decades, and target Indian cities once again. Whether it's, similar to what happened in Mumbai in 26/11. The fact that Delhi was hit this time is a big thing. It's not a small thing. The initial reports were, of course, saying that, it was being planned for 2 years and so on and so forth. So I think if there is a direct Pakistan connect, then India will have to weigh its options on what is the best foot forward for this. But I think a lot has to be looked upon inside as well, because most of the police raids done in association with this terror attack, even if it has a Jaish angle to it, as it seems so, a lot of it was festered inside India and in Kashmir. So I think is a certain change of strategy will also be required, along with putting more and more pressure on Pakistan.
All right, Kabir, we'll have to leave it at that. Many thanks to you for joining in on World 360. Now, speaking of the Delhi car blast that rocked the entire nation, investigations into the deadly blast have intensified as agencies are working round the clock to piece together the chain of events. Intelligence and law enforcement officials are examining every lead, from the explosives used to the movements of suspects prior to the attack. Meanwhile, messages of condemnation have poured in from across the globe after deadly Delhi blast. From US to Afghanistan, leaders of several countries have condemned the blast. US Secretary of State Marco Rubio has also condemned, calling it clearly a terrorist attack, and has also expressed solidarity with India. Listen in to the reactions.
Yesterday, we saw your post on X condemning the terror incident in the national capital. Talk to us a little bit about your country's position on this terror attack, and have you been able to speak to any of the senior person in the Indian government?
Well, the first thing you have to know is that once the Indian government confirmed that the blast was a consequence of a terrorist attack on Monday evening, we expressed our solidarity to the Indian people and the Indian government, because we stand with the Indian government and with the Indian people on condemning all forms of terror. The second thing is that it has to be mentioned is that Argentina, the government of Argentina, the people of Argentina are very conscious about the threat and the menace of terrorism. We also suffered terrorist attacks some years ago. You remember that we had a blast against the Israeli embassy in 1992.
Yes.
We had another a bomb attack against the Jewish Community Center in Buenos Aires in 1994. The two acts combined provoked the loss of 100 people combined. And we know perfectly well what terror is. We know that there are countries that support terrorism, that promote terrorism, some of which had attacked us through Hezbollah, for example, but there are states behind them. And that's why we are so conscious about that. Regarding you asked me if I talked with some people from the government in the last days. No, I did not.
Okay.
We are in contact always with the foreign ministry and those stuff.
Israel sends its deepest condolences to the people of India and especially to the families of the innocent victims killed in the terror attack in Bedford. We wish speedy recovery to the wounded. Prime Minister Netanyahu and Foreign Minister Saar have published strong statements in that regard. Israel and India stand united against terrorism. Israel and India cooperate to acquire the capabilities required in the fight against terror. Only a few days ago, we upgraded the cooperation through the signing of a new agreement during the visit of the Defense Secretary to Israel. Our countries trust each other and will continue to work together to face this challenge.
On the aspect of how Global South needs to unite to fight the threat of terrorism. We speak at a time when Delhi has been confronted with a blast on 10th of November, which has finally been ascertained as an act of terror. First Pahalgam in April, and now the Delhi car blast. What are your thoughts on the threat of terrorism that India is currently confronted by?
Well, first and foremost, as South Africa, we'd want to express our deepest condolences to the loss of lives and also a speedy recovery for those that have been injured. And South Africa stands firmly with India during this difficult period. Now, we have firmly maintained in various statements that there is no place for terrorism in a civilized world. There's no place for terrorism at all. And wherever terrorism occurs, it must be firmly rooted out and taken out of human society. There's no place for terrorism. And countries have to work as a collective, and that is why, for example, you will see in the various BRICS declarations that has been issued every year, there is a dedicated paragraph where all of us agree that terrorism must be rooted out of society and that we must work as a collective to address this threat, not just to one country, but when you have a terror attack in one country, it impacts on the security of all of us. No one is safe, irrespective of where the terrorists may act. So we must work as a collective to get rid of this human scourge.
over to the United States. After 43 days, the US government shutdown is finally over. President Trump has signed a funding bill to reopen federal services and pay employees, calling it a victory. But the bill brings few political wins, no major cuts, no reforms, and no guarantees this will not happen again. The government is back, but the showdown in Washington is not over. We tell you more.
On this vote, the yeas are 222, the nays are 209. The bill is passed. The motion is adopted.
After 43 long days, America's most expensive political staring contest is finally over. On Wednesday, Donald Trump signed a funding bill to reopen the US government, ending the longest shutdown in US history. Cue the victory lap. Trump, ever the showman, framed it as a win for making America affordable again. The reality, the federal government is limping back to life. Over $38 trillion in debt and counting, and nothing truly won except the chance to do it all over again in January. Now, what really happened? For 6 weeks, millions of federal employees went unpaid. Public services were frozen and air traffic nearly ground to a halt. The shutdown began when Senate Democrats refused to sign off on a spending bill that excluded health insurance subsidies under Obamacare tax credits that helped nearly 20 million Americans afford coverage. After 14 rounds of failed votes and a series of bitter exchanges between Republicans and Democrats, a temporary truce was reached. Reopen the government now, fight about healthcare later. So yes, the lights are back on in Washington, but the fire is still smoldering. In his signature flourish, Trump announced the reopening as proof of his leadership, calling Democrats cruel for attempting to extort American taxpayers. He says with this bill, he's sending them a clear message. But the fine print tells a different story. The bill essentially does very little to nothing of what he wanted politically. No new spending cuts, no structural reforms, and no guarantee that the next shutdown won't happen again by the 30th of January. What it does do is force the government to reopen, pay back federal workers, and restart crucial programs like food assistance and air traffic control. The bare minimum a functioning state should provide. Democrats say this fight is not over, vowing to push for healthcare subsidies in December. Translation: the standoff is paused, not resolved. While Washington bickered, the country bled. Thousands of federal workers were forced to dip into their savings or take side gigs just to stay afloat. Air travel became a nightmare with flight delays, sick call-ins, and near misses mounting. Experts say it could take weeks to stabilize flight schedules. Food assistance programs for over 42 million low-income Americans were disrupted. Economic data releases, crucial for markets and policy making, were delayed or cancelled. Even now, restarting a government this size isn't as simple as flipping a switch. Some agencies say it could take days or weeks to resume normal operations. The new funding bill extends government spending through January 30th. So yes, the government is back, but it's running on borrowed time and borrowed money. If you're wondering who actually benefited from this chaos, look to gold traders. Each time Washington shuts down, gold prices climb, and this round was no exception. Political gridlock in world's largest economy continues to prove that uncertainty is the only truly reliable asset. Trump's team is spinning this as a moment, the strong leader ending the crisis he insists Democrats caused. But a closer look will reveal this wasn't a win. It was an expensive pause, a band-aid on a bullet wound, with another shutdown already on the calendar. The government may be open again, but the question still hangs heavy. How long until Washington shuts it down again?
Now, in a dramatic turn of events, Russia, which had recently expressed a willingness to engage in peace talks with Ukraine, has now announced that it has successfully thwarted an alleged assassination plot. While the Kremlin has not released its full details, the claim underscores the tense and volatile situation on the ground. The announcement has raised fresh questions about internal threats and the broader implications for the ongoing negotiations. CNN News 18 Sanjay Suri gets us a report.
This would appear on the face of it, Akanksha, yet more of those cross-purpose signs that we've been seeing over Ukraine for some time now. So that on the one hand, yet more diplomatic signals of a readiness to talk, and together with that on the other, a stronger military push by Russia on the ground. So Russia now says that it remains open to the idea of a Trump or Putin summit in Budapest. That of course had been called last month and then was cancelled, and the reason it was cancelled was because Secretary of State Rubio and Foreign Minister Lavrov spoke ahead of that planned meeting, and they agreed that summit at that stage would yield no results at all. The US had proposed freezing the conflict where it stands, or where it stood then rather, and now we perhaps see why. There's been a very strong Russian push into Pokrovsk, and a number of troops are there already taking advantage of the heavy fog cover at the moment. But heavy fighting is underway. The Ukrainians are resisting, and the Russians have had a little less luck with their push into Kupiansk in Kharkiv province, a little to the north. But the Russians are facing resistance there too. It may well be the Russian strategy to try to take these two cities and only then to try to negotiate over proposals to freeze the conflict where it may then stand. So to delay talks while speeding up a push on the ground. The difficult question, of course, is how far the Russian forces will want to push or will be allowed to push before they think they've gone far enough. Freezing the push where it currently stands still would not give Russia full control of the Donbas region, all of which it has claimed, and the Russians without doubt will have to consider how far they can go. They have to stop somewhere. They can't push all the way to Kiev, and Russia may now possibly be signaling a willingness to end the fighting on an optimistic reading. But then we've been through a few optimistic readings before, and we've seen where they went or did not.
Jeffrey Epstein's scandal continues to haunt US President Donald Trump. A tranche of newly released documents reveal that Epstein kept a close watch on his former friend years after their relationship soured. This disclosure of about 20,000 pages from Republican members of the committee related to Epstein comes as Trump continues to battle with the political fallout related to their past friendship and his Justice Department's failure to release documents as he had long promised on the campaign trail. Will Donald Trump be able to shake off the Epstein stain? Zaka Jacob explains.
Thank you very much. What a great day. It's a great day. Well done, Mr. President. Great job.
House Democrats on Wednesday released several emails that were obtained from the estate of sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. They claim that these emails showed that President Trump may have been much more aware of Epstein's conduct than he has previously acknowledged. Soon after, House Republicans released more than 20,000 pages of Epstein's documents, including a vast trove of emails and other messages covering a large period of many years. In a post on social media reacting to this, Trump responded by saying that the Democrats were bringing up the Epstein hoax to deflect from the government shutdown. In the emails that were released, here's what all Jeffrey Epstein reportedly said about Trump. Epstein described Trump as a dirty businessman who was borderline insane, untrustworthy, and worse in real life and up close than the image that he wanted to convey in public. Jeffrey Epstein also wrote that President Trump had spent many hours at his house with one of Epstein's victims. In one of those messages, Epstein flatly asserts that Trump knew about the girls, many of whom were later found to have been underage. On Wednesday, Republicans in the House Oversight Committee said that the victim that this email referred to was Virginia Roberts Giuffre, who was 16 at the time that she was recruited by Epstein's longtime associate Ghislaine Maxwell, while Giuffre was working as a spa attendant in Mar-a-Lago in the year 2000. When Epstein sent this email, it was in April of 2011, Giuffre had recently gone public for the very first time about her experiences with Epstein. At that time, she had told a British tabloid that Epstein had abused her and trafficked her to other men. Giuffre, though, later denied that Trump had ever sexually abused her. Giuffre died by suicide earlier this year. The Epstein files were the latest act in the rapidly unfolding political drama between House Speaker Mike Johnson and the Republican majority. They shuttered the House for the last 2 months, in part to try and stall a bipartisan effort to force the floor to vote on releasing the Epstein files. That effort ended this week with 218 signatures have been procured, with some Republicans crossing over. That bid has now gathered enough supporters to force a vote. Johnson, who had opposed considering the vote, said that he would relent and bring it to vote next week. House Republicans are seeking to protect Trump while at the same time trying to assuage their supporters who see the Epstein case as an issue that goes beyond loyalty to President Donald Trump. One recurring presence in the messages and the emails from Epstein happens to be author Michael Wolff, who has acted as an advisor to Epstein. In one of the emails around 2016, when Trump was already running for president, Wolff wrote to Epstein saying that he believed Trump offers an ideal opportunity, suggesting that becoming an anti-Trump voice would give Epstein some amount of political cover. The Epstein files have split the MAGA base and made a section of Trump's faithful to turn on him. The idea that their political lodestar could also be a pedophile is something that a lot of folks in MAGA are uncomfortable with. Back in February, about a month or so after Trump was sworn in, Attorney General Pam Bondi had put out about 200 pages of Epstein material, much of which was already publicly available. But that list also included some evidence and a flight log from Epstein's private jet. Now, there was speculation at that time that some of those flight logs showed Trump having taken the Epstein private jet multiple times, a claim which Trump has flat out denied. But that hardly quelled demands from Trump's MAGA base to release the entire Epstein files. The calls grew more persistent after reports surfaced that Trump had sent Epstein a 50th birthday greeting when Epstein turned 50 in 2003. That included a sexually suggestive drawing. Trump again has denied writing that letter or making that drawing. But now, once again, after the release of the latest tranche of the Epstein emails, it is clear that Jeffrey Epstein has become the albatross around Donald Trump's neck, one that he can't seem to shake off.
Not only has it divided Donald Trump's MAGA base, it has also impacted Donald Trump's popularity ratings. I'll have to leave it at that. That's all I have for you in this edition of World 360. Thank you so much for watching. News and updates continue on the other side. Stay tuned to CNN News 18.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
After the defeat, the dissent. It's all out in the open, dirty linen being washed in public. RJD's humiliating defeat in Bihar politics is not enough. But what is worse is now that the Lalu Prasad family seems all divided. And this is after daughter Rohini Acharya quit the party yesterday. She said that she was leaving her family as well as their party. But now she's come out with some very, very damaging allegations against her own family members, directly not taking the name of Tejashwi Yadav, but certainly attacking him. Now, in a series of allegations on the social media platform X, Rohini Acharya alleges that she was humiliated, abused and even assaulted with a slipper. But now there's a massive escalation. Bit by bit, Rohini Acharya is making it worse for the Parivar and the RJD. She has heaped further allegations against the Yadav family, mentions her father's kidney transplant. Rohini Acharya said that she was humiliated over the kidney donation to her father, Lalu Prasad Yadav, in Singapore. She has been mentioned that she was insulted for saving her father's life. She goes on to ask her brother Tejashwi Yadav that why didn't you donate your kidney? What she's also said on a social media platform is that they call the kidney dirty, They called her also dirty and accused her of giving a dirty kidney to her father, Lalu Prasad Yadav. My colleagues Brij Mohan Singh as well as Aman Sharma are now joining us. Brij Mohan, was this something which was waiting to happen? Rohini Acharya was certainly not very comfortable with her sidelining within the party. Was this supposed to happen and expected that once the results come out...
Good evening and a warm welcome. Thank you so much for staying with CNN News 18. I'm Griha Atul, and we begin the broadcast with an exclusive news break that had confirmed, and it was confirmed by the NIA, that CNN News 18, that was the first to break that the I-20 car that was used in the Red Fort blast had a J&K connection. And now the NIA is confirming just the same thing. The car was finally sold in the Pulwama village of Shambura. CNN News 18 has accessed the picture of the owner, and this was the first image that we had put out for our viewers, and this was the very first time that this person on your screens was shown right here on CNN News 18. His name is Amir Rashid Ali, and today the same person, Amir Rashid Ali, has formally been arrested by the National Investigation Agency. My colleague Anand Narasimhan is joining us on the broadcast. Anand, the big arrest that's been made by the NIA, and we here on CNN News 18 were the first to break this particular information of this person on the screen, although the name was something that was misidentified at first because of certain paperwork, but now it has been made amply clear that he is the person who is a co-conspirator in that entire Red Fort blast.
Yes, actually, good evening, Griha, and this is very big because, and we must tell our viewers that it was here on CNN News 18 on the 10th itself that we were able, late night on the 10th of November, that we were able to confirm that the person, the I-20 car that was used in the blast, the identity of the person was seen. At that time, many thought his name was Tariq because the car registration was under the name of Tariq and it was Tariq's phone that was given. But it was here at CNN News 18 that we were able to confirm early morning on the 11th that indeed this person's name is Amir Rashid Ali. Amir and his brother Umar Rashid, both of them are hailed from Shambura, from the same place that Tariq also hails, and Tariq is a tipper driver by profession. Amir Rashid Ali and his brother Umar are electricians and plumbers, and they had come there, they have done this entire transaction on behalf of Dr. Umar Nabi. These three people were in touch with Umar Nabi, and Umar Nabi also hails from Pulwama, from that area, and it was on his behalf. Now, we also were able to put out the details here at CNN News 18 that the funding, the money, the cash came from the jihadi doctors. It came from that Al-Falah module, be it Shaheen or one of her accomplices or Umar Nabi and one of his stooges. They arranged the money, and this the I-20 was bought at this place, at this car dealership about 20 kilometers from Al-Falah University in Faridabad itself. And it was Sonu, this person, who handed over the car keys, and the payment was made in cash. So we were able to get all these details, and now, and that very day, on the 11th morning itself, Amir Rashid and Umar Rashid had been picked up by the Jammu and Kashmir police. Ishan Wani, CNN News 18's Ishan Wani was there on ground, and he was able to confirm from the family that the people who were there in the picture was Amir Rashid, and it was confirmed by Amir Rashid's family, and they also confirmed to CNN News 18 at that time that Amir Rashid and Umar Rashid, both of them had been picked up because both of them are friends of Tariq. The family at that time was quite surprised by these developments because they were not in the know of all these developments. They did not know this was happening. But Amir has picked up. He had actually given Tariq's phone number. So all three have been detained. Now the NIA, out of the two, NIA has actually detained Amir Rashid Ali because Amir made the trip all the way from Pulwama, the Sambura village in Pulwama, all the way down to Faridabad, and he went there to pick up this car. So his involvement is far greater than some of the others. Did he try to take somebody else's phone, that is Tariq, the tipper driver's phone, or were they also accomplices? What is the extent of the role that Amir had in this entire module is something now that's going to be investigated, and that's why the NIA have now detained him, because they don't know the extent. Did he do it? Was he gullible enough to go ahead and commit something because it was a request that was made that, listen, I can't go, can you just do this for me? And because if he wanted to do it on the fly, why would he take a picture?
Yes.
So that's another question. Why would I get myself photographed if I didn't want to get caught? Did I do it without knowing what the implications of my actions are? That's subject to investigation. Or did Amir actually know that what was this vehicle going to be used for, or for who it was? But he thought, it's all right, let's try and act absolutely casual about it. And is that why the picture was taken? Because the clue for the car and this picture was what helped unearth the entire extent of the Al-Falah module and its connect with the 1011 blast at Red Fort and the Umar Nabi connection. All of this established, and it was first broken out and put out here at CNN News 18, Rhea.
Absolutely. Anand, thank you so much for all of that information. Remember, CNN News 18 was the first to break it, and now a confirmation coming in from the NIA. Let's now begin with our explosive weekend debate. In a dramatic escalation of a family and political feud, Rohini Acharya, daughter of Lalu Prasad Yadav, has issued a fresh public statement that deepens the rift within the Yadav family dynasty. She has declared that barring her brothers, her entire family, including her father, is with her. Her remarks follow her announcement that she is quitting politics and severing ties with her family, a step she says was compelled by months of humiliation, abuse and betrayal inside the family circle. Rohini's accusations are intense. She says that after donating a kidney to her father, she was insulted, shunned and treated as an outsider, culminating in what she describes as being thrown out of her home. Public disclosures that have triggered waves of commentary in political circles. And all this while RJD is reeling from its disastrous showing in the 2025 Bihar Assembly elections. The timing of Rohini's disclosure, particularly after Tej Pratap Yadav, the elder son of Lalu Prasad Yadav's expulsion from the RJD for 6 years and the family earlier this year. All of this adding a fresh challenge for the party. Once regarded as a relatively unified family-run outfit under Lalu, the public airing of internal strife threatens to reinforce perceptions of disunity, leadership vacuum and lack of internal discipline. For Tejashwi Yadav, who leads the party, this presents a test. Can he craft a clear narrative, an organization that withstands both electoral defeat and familial dissent? Moreover, his sister's departure may prompt questions about generational transition, the role of non-family insiders such as Sanjay Yadav and Ramiz, who has been named by Rohini, and whether the party risks becoming hostage to internal skirmishes rather than focusing on rebuilding. So the big question tonight, will this rupture be a temporary turbulence or a structural fault line for the RJD? Let's discuss.
ये बात जाकर के तेजस्वी यादव किसके शह पे हुआ है उनसे जाके पूछिए।
परिवार का मामला है, परिवार के लोग जवाब देंगे।
Entire family, when we talk about Tejashwi, we talk about Tej Pratap, no one has an identity except Lalu Prasad Yadav. Lalu Prasad Yadav is definitely unwell. Now he cannot hold the show at all.
Let's open this up. We have our guest joining us on the broadcast tonight. Sanju Verma of the BJP is with us. Also with us is Pooja Patrick of the JDU. Sujata Pal of the Congress Party joins us, and also joining us is Rashid Kidwai, senior journalist. Let me begin with Pooja Patrick. Since you're primarily a regional party which has exceeding dominance in Bihar, the polls this time around have shown that, Pooja. What do you make of this dirty linen being washed in the open, or do you think it's more than that?
See, I would first say that it's a very unfortunate incident that has taken place, and our sympathy goes out for Rohini Acharya. But if we, I did not want to delve into this matter through a political angle. But when the things have been made political by Rohini Acharya, then we have to talk about it. If she had not been, if she had not gone to the media or made any statements in the media, it would have been a family affair or a very personal affair. But now, when everything is out in the media, I think being a woman or being a married woman also. For a lady, her dignity and her self-respect is what matters her the most. And in this case, for a daughter who had donated kidney to her father, who had risked her own life to bring life to her father, and if she is treated like this in her own family, where she had given political support, emotional support to her brother in all the political campaigns that were held in the elections, I think it is a disgrace that brings Tejashwi Yadav has brought to the Lalu Yadav's family. I don't know what constraint or what helplessness Lalu Yadav is under, because he is not taking a stand for his daughter. We heard what Rohini Acharya said, that Lalu Yadav and Rabri Devi both were crying for her daughter's situation. But I don't know what constraint both the parents are under, that they are not taking a stand for their daughter. And at the end, I would just question Tejashwi Yadav that if he's not able to handle his own family affairs, and the family being it was shown that it's a very close-knit family with a people of 13 or 14, how would he have been if he was chosen? We know that now the results are out and the NDA is going to form the government. But if in any case he was chosen by the people of Bihar, how would he have handled if he was not able to handle people of 13 or 14, a family? And he would have found it difficult to handle a population size of 13 or 14 crores. Okay. This is what the population is of Bihar. So my question is that to Tejashwi Yadav.
Pooja asked a question, Sanju. We wonder what is the constraint of Lalu Prasad Yadav. Do you think the constraint is the same one as everyone witnessed of him not being on the posters of the Mahagathbandhan with just Tejaswi's face slapped on the posters? No Lalu Prasad Yadav at all representing the RJD. Do you think there is more than what meets the eye here?
You know, Griha, first things first. There's a saying in Hindi, हम बेटी को घर की लक्ष्मी मानते हैं और जो daughter in law है, बहू है, उसे हम घर की गृह लक्ष्मी मानते हैं. And look at the irony. Tej Pratap Yadav, the eldest son of Lalu Yadav, he got married in 2018, and in 2019, there are videos which are viral on the internet where Aishwarya, Lalu and Rabri Devi's daughter-in-law, says that Rabri Devi in the middle of the night dragged Aishwarya by her hair and beat her up, thrashed her brutally. Then she was thrown out of the house. She was on her periods. She was not even given access to sanitary napkins. Her mobile phone was snatched away. And she said, बाहर जो सिक्योरिटी गार्ड थे, बॉडी गार्ड थे, उन्हें कहा गया कि मुझे बुरी तरह पीटा जाए. पहले तो राबड़ी जी ने खुद मेरी पिटाई की, बाद में बॉडीगार्ड्स द्वारा भी पिटाई की गई. And what happened in 2019 to Rabri's daughter-in-law, today the same thing in 2025, within 6 years, has happened to Lalu and Rabri's own daughter Rohini Acharya. And I would agree with the JDU spokesperson. You know, when you're in politics, when you're in public life, there's nothing private about your public persona. You know, whether you like it or not, whatever you do comes into the public domain. What I find surprising is that where is the entire Darbari ecosystem? Ladki hu, lad sakti hu. Priyanka Vadra ran all the way to Hathras. You know, when Archana Gautam, the poster girl of Ladki hu, lad sakti hu, was thrashed outside the Congress office, Priyanka Vadra consumed Fevicol in wholesale. Today, Rohini Acharya says, Tejashwi Yadav ke कहने पर मुझे रमीज और संजय यादव ने चप्पल मार मार कर घर से धकेल कर अलग कर दिया मेरे अपने परिवार से. मुझे आज ऐसा लग रहा है मैं अनाथ हूं. I feel orphaned. I feel abandoned. And I don't even see the two very vocal women spokespersons of RJD who are not there on your show, who keep talking about women empowerment. I fail to understand why have they chosen to consume Fevicol in wholesale, not condemn what happened to Rohini Acharya, not even show basic compassion, sympathy or empathy. I'm not a Rohini Acharya fan, but the fact is, at some level, you have to understand that here is a woman, forget about her donating a kidney.
Yes.
Even if she had not donated a kidney, forget about her being a strategist. If Tejashwi Yadav had won, do you think Tejashwi Yadav would have given credit to Rohini Acharya for his spectacular victory? Now that the RJD has been, given a humbling, a humiliating defeat by the electorate in Bihar, apparently what Tejashwi Yadav told Rohini Acharya was, "Humko tumhari haay lag gayi hai."
There's a reason. There is a reason. And Sanju and Pooja, thank you so much for the opening remarks. There's a reason, Sujata Paul, that I decided to start with the opposing voices in this particular case, because the RJD is refusing to comment on it. Sanju just mentioned two very vocal female spokespersons of the RJD refusing to join us on the debate. They don't want to weigh in on what has happened. You are an alliance partner. You are within the Mahagathbandhan. What really has happened? RJD, rank and file, politically it's a different story. But here, it's a woman speaking, talking about the kind of ordeal that she suffered at the hands of her own family members. Do you think there is a big reason to worry for the Lalu Prasad Yadav family, for Tejashwi Yadav? Because the allegations are really damaging.
This is so disgusting that you're talking about a family issue and you're not really bothered about the family trying to sort this issue out, not giving them time, not talking about their privacy, which is what you would have spoken about if this was some family of the BJP. But the glee on the faces of people
it's out
today
in the open, ma'am. Sujata, don't you think it's out in the open? She has made a public disclosure.
Hang on. No, Griya, let me complete. Very recently, there has been a big battle between former Prime Minister Vishwanath Pratap Singh's granddaughter, who lives in Dehradun, and there is a domestic issue which was happening. The BJP government was not allowing police to take action. And in this particular matter, nobody spoke. You did not have a debate. Former Prime Minister Vishwanath Pratap Singh's granddaughter Adrija was facing domestic violence from her husband's family. That was her allegation. We did not make it into this huge issue like you are making today. I think any private problem should remain private.
Why do you think it's an issue today? Sujata, why do you think it's an issue today? Right now, the Mahagathbandhan has seen a defeat like never seen before in the state of Bihar. And we are talking about RJD's presence in Bihar that is in question right now. And while we must be talking about a victory of the NDA or a defeat of the Mahagathbandhan, in this case, the RJD as well, we are talking about a public disclosure that has come in from a key member of the Lalu Prasad Yadav family. Why do you think that is? Why do you think the timing here should not be questioned as well?
No, you will not allow them to handle their private family matter. And you are questioning why their spokespersons are not coming on your show. How shameful is that? What I am saying is that when Adrija Kumari,
No, ma'am, I'm not questioning on why the spokespersons are not coming on the show. I am just asking why is the Lalu Prasad Yadav family not responding to what allegations the daughter has leveled against them? And in this case, we have also put it out there. We have given a platform and we have said that she's getting a support from Lalu Prasad Yadav. No.
I am saying that there was another daughter making a similar allegation. Why do you look at things differently? That was a BJP.
I answered that question, ma'am.
Girl was saying that she was being
If we want to do a debate which is about female and women's security, on whether or not she is safe within her own family, that's a separate debate also. It is a parallel debate and a very, very important one. But do you think the politics will be bereft of what controversy has right now attacked the Lalu Prasad Yadav family right ahead of the election defeat? Mr. Rashid Kidwai. Rashid Kidwai.
Who has suffered in a BJP state, you will not talk about.
Okay, Sanju Verma would want to respond to that, but I will. Okay, Sanju Verma, your response.
Thank you. I did not want to make this into a tutu meme debate. Like I said, I'm not a Rohini Acharya fan. But look at the video. You can easily empathize with her. It's heartrending that she's been thrown out by her own brother, thrown out by her own family members, completely abandoned. But the moot point is this, I always come back. And I have been on very uncomfortable debates and asked questions. There's a BJP leader who's made a misogynistic statement. Do you agree, Sanju Verma? I say no. Ideology apart, if there is misogyny, I will condemn it unequivocally. And I say this again with a lot of responsibility on your show. What happened in the last 24 hours with Rohini Acharya, Griha, reminds me of March 1982, which I'm sure Rashid Kidwai, who's a seasoned journalist, will remember. The month was March, the year was 1982. It was barely 2 years since Sanjay Gandhi died in 1980. And Menaka Gandhi, along with her infant son, was thrown out of one Safdarjung Road by Menaka Gandhi's mother-in-law, the then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. So I am not surprised that the entire Congress ecosystem has chosen to be quiet.
Rashidji, do you think what has happened when it is about Lalu Prasad's family is unfortunate? What has happened with Rohini is very, very unfortunate. It should not have happened. But since it has come out in the open, should we not be discussing it? Rashid Kidwai.
There are many things at stake here. I think this is not only just a matter of, bad optics. It's also about, physical violence against women. So there is actually a case of, criminal proceedings. We cannot equate this, what happened to Menaka Gandhi that, Sanju Verma is referring. That was an altogether different case. That was also about, human feelings and all. We can go on. But here, the three things are very clear. One is there is a kind of, if there is a intimidation and physical abuse, then this is a serious. This is not between two individuals. It is not ghar ghar ki baat. And second thing is, Rohini Acharya has gone public. So it is for the, for the government, for the police to take cognizance of it and act. Now, I understand that this is a kind of a dispute. We do not know what on the other side. This is also a family which has many, members in politics, and they were aspiring for tickets and political leverage, all kind of thing. I'm sure there is another side of story. But for alliance politics, it is bad optics. It's very difficult for the Congress and the left parties and all to justify, and for Tejashwi himself. But one last point that I want to make, and having studied, the Indian politics for many, Indian political parties and system, they are very misogynic. They are very, very, laced with patriarchy. And when these kind of things happen, the male side always wins or dominates. We have very little in-house, mechanism. Congress, BJP, all included, to deal with, cases of sexual harassment, intimidation and all. And the very glaring case was there, Sanju may disagree with me, was about, what happened in the wrestling federation thing, with what happened to women wrestlers, etc. So there's a lot of history to it. I think we should look at it piece to piece, but it's overall, it's very unfortunate, and it makes, the Mahagathbandhan's defeat far more, murky, disgusting. And of course, this
absolutely
kind of thing,
hurling a slipper, in fact, throwing a daughter out. These are serious charges that Rohini is making, and she has come out in the open because she wants to be heard, and that is why we are discussing it today on CNN News 18. But I'd like to thank all my guests for joining us on the broadcast, because that's all the time. In sum, the Yadav family's personal drama has become a political liability for the RJD at arguably its most vulnerable moment. With elections behind them and rebuilding ahead, the party must now address the twin challenges of external electoral competition and internal credibility if it hopes to reclaim relevance in Bihar's evolving political landscape. With that, it's a wrap from my side.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
After the defeat, the dissent. It's all out in the open, dirty linen being washed in public. RJD's humiliating defeat in Bihar politics is not enough. But what is worse is now that the Lalu Prasad family seems all divided. And this is after daughter Rohini Acharya quit the party yesterday. She said that she was leaving her family as well as their party. But now she's come out with some very, very damaging allegations against her own family members, directly not taking the name of Tejashwi Yadav, but certainly attacking him. Now, in a series of allegations on the social media platform X, Rohini Acharya alleges that she was humiliated, abused and even assaulted with a slipper. But now there's a massive escalation. Bit by bit, Rohini Acharya is making it worse for the Parivar and the RJD. She has heaped further allegations against the Yadav family, mentions her father's kidney transplant. Rohini Acharya said that she was humiliated over the kidney donation to her father, Lalu Prasad Yadav, in Singapore. She has been mentioned that she was insulted for saving her father's life. She goes on to ask her brother Tejashwi Yadav that why didn't you donate your kidney? What she's also said on a social media platform is that they called the kidney dirty, they called her also dirty and accused her of giving a dirty kidney to her father Lalu Prasad Yadav. My colleagues Brij Mohan Singh as well as Aman Sharma are now joining us. Brij Mohan, was this something which was waiting to happen? Rohini Acharya was certainly not very comfortable with her sidelining within the party. Was this supposed to happen and expected that once the results come out, it's going to be all guns blazing and the drift becomes very clear?
I remember 2024 Lok Sabha elections in Saran Lok Sabha seat.
Welcome back. We are now getting some breaking news inputs. We are learning that the swearing-in ceremony of the NDA will be held at Gandhi Maidan on the 20th of November. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is expected to attend that grand event. Hectic parleys in Bihar, we are told, and national capital are currently underway. HAM chief and RLM chief are meeting with Dharmendra Pradhan in Delhi as we speak. Upendra Kushwaha has also met with Dharmendra Pradhan. These are the visuals that we are putting out for our viewers. BJP Bihar President Dr. Dilip Jaiswal has also met with Chief Minister Nitish Kumar at the latter's residence. With that, I go into a very short break.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
After the defeat, the dissent. It's all out in the open, dirty linen being washed in public. RJD's humiliating defeat in Bihar politics is not enough. But what is worse is now that the Lalu Prasad family seems all divided. And this is after daughter Rohini Acharya quit the party yesterday. She said that she was leaving her family as well as their party. But now she's come out with some very, very damaging allegations against her own family members, directly not taking the name of Tejashwi Yadav, but certainly attacking him. Now, in a series of allegations on the social media platform X, Rohini Acharya alleges that she was humiliated, abused and even assaulted with a slipper. But now there's a massive escalation. Bit by bit, Rohini Acharya is making it worse for the Parivar and the RJD. She has heaped further allegations against the Yadav family, mentions her father's kidney transplant. Rohini Acharya said that she was humiliated over the kidney donation to her father, Lalu Prasad Yadav, in Singapore. She has been mentioned that she was insulted for saving her father's life. She goes on to ask her brother Tejashwi Yadav that why didn't you donate your kidney? What she's also said on a social media platform is that they called the kidney dirty, they called her also dirty and accused her of giving a dirty kidney to her father, Lalu Prasad Yadav.
Namaste, Jai Hind and welcome to Take 3. There's a lot to talk about with respect to the Bihar results, but here in this edition of Take 3, we're going to speak about the other big development that merits a lot of attention, thought and consideration, viewers. It's the 10-11 blasts in Delhi and also the Al-Falah module that's been busted, but most importantly, the white-collar terrorism, white-collar radicals who are hiding in plain sight. And the numbers as they unravel are quite shocking. It's the profession of doctors, but it extends beyond that because there are other professionals too. Zaka Jacob, Rahul Shivshankar with us. My first question to you, Zaka, does this come as a shock, worry, concern, that there are educated individuals, highly qualified individuals who for years have been nurturing this radical bent and thought, and on the one hand have taken the Hippocratic oath to save lives, and on the other are ready to take innocent lives.
You know, I think it is a bit of a shocker, no doubt about it, especially in the context of India. I'll just, put it quickly for our viewers. In the context of India, in the context of Kashmir, this whole idea of, somebody who's well educated, a doctor at that, turning to this completely twisted, brainwashed ideology, other than, the SAR Gilani case, of course, he got acquitted in the parliament case. I'm yet to come across, every time there was this Burhan Wani narrative or any other Kashmiri terrorist, the narrative was always that, they are marginalized and they're alienated and they're feeling, a sense of marginalization, they are poor, come from, socially and economically backward sections and so on. And therefore, this is a, if not a justification, but at least an explanation for what they're doing. But with these doctors, 5 out of the 8, I believe, are all highly qualified. Not just highly qualified. The Dr. Umar, this suicide bomber who blew up, more than 10 people outside Red Fort, was apparently one of the state toppers in Jammu and Kashmir for the medical exam. And so was the case with this Dr. Shaheen, the lady doctor from Uttar Pradesh. Again, apparently a topper in her medical exam.
Muzammil was a pediatrics MD.
Exactly. Why would you've taken not just a professional oath, but this is an ethical thing that doctors are supposed to do, that you're supposed to save lives, and then suddenly these guys have become like the merchants of death. They've become the doctors of death. It's something is amiss. So one part is the education system and the fact that we're not able to identify these people. Also, terrorism doesn't happen in a vacuum. These people have family members, they have friends, they have social circles where they are hanging out. They have a life, which revolves around people. In this case, a university. How come nobody had a wind of this? How come nobody was suspicious about their behavior? 2,900 kilograms of explosives is not a small amount.
Yeah.
To be able to, garner that over a period of time, someone's antennas should have gone up. And I think that's also a matter of concern.
Now, there is more information. This Shaheen was not only being recruited very actively by the Jaish, she had a code name by the name of Madam Surgeon. And she was tasked with 3 levels of identifying women. 1, women who are, convert them, bring them to the faith. 2, women who are liberal, send them abroad to nations and to areas where they could be radicalized. And 3, women who are orthodox, to radicalize them and to recruit them. Her brother is actually linked to the Jaish itself, and he is connected. This Adil Radar's brother, Muzaffar, he is actually stationed in Afghanistan right now. That's also a doctor. He's also a doctor. I'm just saying, and then there is another doctor who's now been recruited, who's been now arrested. It's just mind-boggling the number of professionals, educated individuals who are so radicalized that over years they've been harboring this. Your thoughts?
I take grave exception to this choice of words, white collar crime. This is not white collar crime. The classical definition of white collar crime is financial crimes committed by professionals.
White collar radicals.
There's nothing called a white collar radical. Those are non-violent crimes. Anyone who commits a white collar crime, first of all, let's just get that out of the way. He's not killing people. Yes, maybe corruption kills in the long-winded sense of the term and all of that, yes. But why are you so surprised? I find it strange that all of you are sitting here looking so bemused and absolutely shocked out of your wits. The daddy of doctors who led a jihad was Ayman al-Zawahiri, doctor.
Yeah.
And what did he launch? In conjunction with an engineer
Yeah.
of great qualification, in fact, not some twit.
Yeah.
Osama bin Laden.
MIT.
You see, the point is, terror has a religion, and it is called political Islam. I've just written a few words here, and this is fueled by a hardline fundamentalism that doesn't sit well with the concept of the modern nation state with nationhood. I've been reading a book. I'm actually rereading a book. And this book I had read when I was about 24, 25. It was the Times of India, as an assistant editor there, writing editorials. And this whole conversation around, if you remember, 9/11 had taken place.
Yes.
Towers had just come down. So people said, what is it? What is this thing? How are these people, engineers, etc., from Germany, doctors, some of them, learning how to fly planes and taking them and ending their lives in this ball of fury, rage? What is it? So fundamentally, this clash of civilizations thesis was again dusted up, Huntington's, and brought to the fore. And there were a large number of people like Martin Indyk and so on and so forth who talked about this thing called political Islam. Now, you see, it is fueled by this hardline fundamentalism that doesn't sit well with the concept of the modern nation state. It doesn't sit well with nationhood. It sees the world in a birony. Darul Harb and Darul Islam. And these people get co-opted by this hardline element. Now, what are they seeking? I can't say. But certainly, they are responding to a particular evangelical strain. Right? Where it comes from, don't ask me. I'm not a cleric. I don't know the books, holy books. But I'm told that this is an interpretation. And what do they seek to do? The idea is to create a contiguous nation of Islam. It's a very revanchist view. So it doesn't recognize borders. So this is, you know, some people use the word pan-nationalism. This is that. And the Islamic State was a leading flag bearer. Let me tell you, and you will all remember this. About 10 years back in Jammu and Kashmir, after every Friday prayer, specifically in the Jamia Masjid there, young students would come out waving the ISIS flag. You must remember that. And we had, at that time, the senior most politician in the valley, Mr. Farooq Abdullah Singh, नहीं, बच्चे हैं, उनको अपनी अंदर की भड़ास निकालने दो. We normalize this strain. Now you tell me, the Indian version of Islam is supposed to be very syncretic, suffused in Sufism. Where are all these Wahhabis and Salafis coming out of? Why are they even allowed to set up shop in this country? In the Gulf, Wahhabi and Salafi schools are monitored by the state. I did a show in which I listed all the restrictions that have been put, not only on preachers, but on institutions. Yahan, bhai sahab, free pass. Why? Because we cite our constitution. And our constitution says everyone has the right to do whatever they please and how they must profess. So we have Salafi schools, Deobandi schools, we have all these hardline versions of Islam that are actually not pluralistic. So a pluralistic faith is being eaten up by a non-pluralistic version.
I want to take exception to this hypothesis and the way Rahul has framed it. I don't think political Islam is an anathema to the modern day state, and I noticed that you didn't use the word democracy. To say that countries like UAE, Saudi Arabia, etc. are not modern day states, I think would be incorrect. Indonesia, which is the country which is the largest number of Muslims, is, for whatever it's worth, a functioning democracy. My point is this idea that somehow political Islam is anti the modern day state, which means why are we not having the Ummah instead of why are we not having
Osama bin Laden have to leave? Why did Osama bin Laden? So I'm telling you, you're contradicting yourself, because that is the greatest fear they have. That's why some of these kingdoms, right, are kicking out these people.
So that is
because
a
they're a
different
threat
problem.
to the nation
that
state.
is a different issue from saying that
but why was Osama bin Laden asked to leave?
Is not compatible with a modern day state.
It is
not the same.
They want to set up their own state which is compatible with the idea of a puritanical Islam. Fundamentally, that is what it is.
The issue here was there is a certain school which people like Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi and the Islamic State.
One second.
Why? Because they were
militating against the state.
Because modern day states like Saudi Arabia and UAE and Qatar and others decided that this is not
making a mistake. First of all, Zach, you're not understanding the question.
This is not the ideology that represents us.
So that's right. I'm not saying that everybody is linked to this ideology. I'm talking about Indian Muslims.
Right? What are modern day states?
So allow me. Just give me 30 seconds since you brought this up. Let me just put a caveat here. The fact of the matter is that these people do not recognize the boundaries of states as we see them. These individuals who are committed political Islamists, they want to create a larger ummah, a pan-national identity. Please understand. They are a threat to the states in which they are born. And these states that you're talking about, the leadership of these states, whether they are kings, sultans, or elected leaders or an oligarchy, what have you. They don't want them there because they are militating against the idea of the modern nation state, which recognizes boundaries, a sense of nationhood, a common culture, maybe even a coming together of a large number of people, which is inclusivism. These people don't see it that
There is
way.
also another...
So they want to create an Islamic crescent, which goes from here, from the Gulf all the way to Southeast Asia.
Now, if I can have my say. These are nations which we are saying, then the Muslims across the world should look at this very, very carefully.
They do.
One minute. Where are, especially in Jammu and Kashmir, and these doctors and their ilk should also look, that wherever there is a proper Islamic state, the maximum amount of strife and war and fights are in the conflicts are in that area. Now, these are people, these are entities who are getting fed ideology, vitriol, whatever it is from Pakistan, Pak-based jihadi tanzeems, Jaish-e-Mohammed literature, etc. Are they not seeing what's happening in Pakistan? What is the Murid Ke massacre? The people who were massacred there weren't there on Muslims. They were Muslims gunned down by the Muslim cops and Muslim state.
But why?
No, one minute. Are the Baloch not Muslims? Are those in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, the Pashtuns, not Muslim? Look at the state of a nation that was created on the name of Kalma, and they equate themselves to Makkah. Look at the state of affairs of the Muslims in that country. I'm just saying.
No one is arguing against that.
Just allow me. Just allow me this. So where this whole ideology comes from is there is a Ghazwa-e-Hind, which they believe is mandated in the scriptures. What is Ghazwa-e-Hind? Ghazwa-e-Hind is that this land which is Hind, Al-Hind, irrespective of what geographical boundaries we know it of it today or states and all of that, this Al-Hind needs to be conquered for Islam to rule the world. That's the mandate. This whole thought process is Ghazwa-e-Hind.
This same country that you refer to, Pakistan, is having 100 times more problem today with the Taliban, who, history knows the creation of the ISI. One second. So where is the Ummah then? Where is this global pan-Islamic nation state that they want?
What I am trying to say is, where is the shock for me? The shock is not that there are intelligent minds or educated minds or radicalized. The educated minds cannot be robbed of common sense. They are not seeing, why are they not seeing the fact that more Muslims are being killed in Pakistan and Muslims are in trouble in Pakistan rather than Muslims being a minority and being challenged in India?
My point being that when you say that there is this global, they want to make this global Islamic ummah, a country without borders, a nation state where only the religion matters. Why can't the Pakistanis and the Afghans see eye to eye?
They don't see that.
What are they defending? They're defending the Durand line, right? What is the Durand line? It's the creation of a modern state.
There are progressive Muslims and there are revanchist Muslims. That's the whole problem.
No, and not just
so in this case, one second, between Pakistan and the Taliban, which is the progressive Muslim and which is the revanchist Muslim?
One second, I'll just come out to that. Listen, there are people who recognize, for whatever reasons, that there is an interest in maintaining what is known as a state which is defined by the constitution and so on and so forth. Okay, even the Sharia law, which doesn't advocate for this kind of stuff. Okay, then there are others who say, no, we have to go back to the original. Okay, and what we have to do is to recognize only the primacy of the caliph, the representative of the God on earth. And that has to be a caliphate. And whichever lands come under this caliphate, whether they are today Syria or Jordan, or whether they are Iraq, or they are, Afghanistan or Pakistan, they should all be taken over, unified, and made into this one land,
but that is a larger
which
thing.
is the Darul Islam.
Correct. Now, Darul Islam has...
And there are people in the Islamic world who have a problem with this.
No, not just that. They also see. There are
their credit.
There is a fight.
If this is the case, why isn't the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia advocating this? Why isn't the
President of
the UAE?
Because he doesn't believe in it.
If your logic is that there is this political Islam where people want to take the Islamic countries back to the 6th and 7th centuries, the Aisha should have been ruling all of these countries by now.
But they don't have so much popular support.
Zaka, one second.
The point being exactly that political Islam does not thrive because it does not have popular support.
I'm not saying that it has
Even in the Islamic countries, even in Saudi Arabia,
nobody's
saying that it has popular
you
support.
missed the point.
No, there are two things. We are not talking about
there are
Muslims at
hardline
large.
ideologies that people are subscribing to.
Biggest fight in the Muslim world today is between Yemen, the Houthis,
you have not understood this at all.
And the Gulf countries.
What we are trying to say is... No, let me just refine, because I think he's under a misconception. See, if everyone was signing up to this ideology, we would have had the kind of unified push. But not everyone does. Because thank God there are still some sensible people.
No, the reason...
Let me finish.
The reason why that doesn't happen... Just 10 seconds. The reason why that doesn't happen is because we have this popular idea wrongly that all the Muslims are the same, all the Muslim countries are the same.
But who's saying
that? The divisions within the Muslim communities are also huge.
You are saying
like I said, the biggest
saying
conflict in the Muslim world right now is between the Houthis and the Gulf Arab countries.
One minute. We are at no point
and thinking that
at no point.
I'm talking about a strain of Islam.
1 minute. At no point is anybody or either of us trying to say or broad brush all Muslims and all nations.
In fact,
that's not the case.
I am saying
what
that
I'm trying to tell you is
syncretic Islam in this country. Don't allow it to be rolled over by these crazies.
Not just the crazies. He said, no, why are you two so bemused and why is it that you're shocked? I am just shocked because if you are educated, if you have seen if in Jammu and Kashmir, you have seen the time after 2019, in the last 5-6 years, what's happened in Jammu and Kashmir and what is happening over in Pakistan, you would have dumped this whole ideology altogether and you would have not subscribed to it.
Anand, it's like saying that there are many people.
So look how they are being radicalized. They are being radicalized.
No, there are intelligent people. No, one second. There are just one second. There are intelligent people in the Christian world, right?
Yeah.
Yet they don't believe that there should be abortion because they believe that, life.
They're God's blessing. Yeah.
God's blessing and so on and so forth. Now, anyone who is given to science would say, well, there is a certain problem here.
Yeah.
Okay. Others will say, no, you see, some of us believe in X or Y practice, which is not reconcilable today either through silence or, in fact, even through modern education.
Right.
But there are those people.
Correct.
And it is a duty of the majority who are sensible to reject this. My biggest fear today in India is that this is being glamorized. And there are people who are falling for this. Now, why? I don't know.
Who is glamorizing this? I reject this. I mean, this is...
Okay, tell me something.
This is a notion that has been put in...
There are people like Burhan Wani who were posing with Kalashnikovs. And there were a whole bunch of youth who were promoting this Facebook nonsense of theirs. Have we forgotten this?
My point
is the new Che Guevara. He's the new Che Guevara.
My point is, Rahul.
What was Osama bin Laden?
No, one second. Rahul,
even today he's called the poster boy. He's there. No, one second. There are many people who regard Osama bin... Am I wrong? There were many people who regard Osama bin Laden as a freedom fighter. The world sees him as a terrorist. Who are these people?
So why isn't Saudi Arabia then a caliphate? Why hasn't... Osama bin Laden came from there only, right?
Because they kicked him out.
Let's come back to Kashmir. Let's come back to Kashmir. One second. Let me make a limited point. Burhan Wani, right? You made this whole thing. Okay, here was this fellow. He's been idolized. Some people look up to him. Young people want to pose like him, so on and so forth. But to say that their entire state has been taken up by this fellow and this ideology
did I say it?
Is complete.
Did I say it?
The implication of what you're saying is
nobody
exactly
that.
If
you want to make a debate out of nothing, then you can make a debate and I'm just going to keep quiet.
Democratically came and chose...
Wait, please. No. Okay, now can I speak, please?
And I'm even saying, one second, please. No, listen. Hang on. I don't want to be here tarnished with some brush.
Nobody is tarnishing anybody.
No, I am being told that I am suggesting that the whole Muslim world is enlisting for political Islam. I'm not saying that. At least I'm saying there are few people. Please understand nuance here.
Last I heard and last I thought, gents, this is take 3. Now, can I have my say, please? Okay, thank you very much. Now, what we are trying to say, or what I am trying to say, Rahul is also.
He's just working.
No, Rahul is trying to say.
He's winding me.
And no need to push buttons. Anybody's buttons also here. The idea is that. Yes, there is a huge majority which does not endorse this point of view, nor does it sign up to it. The ballots, the people, I'm talking about India, Jammu Kashmir specifically that I'm saying. But the people who have endorsed this, the 9, 10, 12, 15 people who will come. And if this module is 15, 20 people, 15, 20 out of a population of say 60 lakh is not a big deal. It's not a big number. But that 20 can cause the damage that can set the country and color a perception, right? Do you want to look at every Muslim doctor with a doubt now today? You don't want to. You and me will not do it. Why? We are sensible people, intelligent. We are not going to broad brush. But not every other person is going to do that. Imagine what that person is going to feel, a Muslim doctor is going to feel. Why am I being tarnished for the action of somebody who I don't identify with? It's not my fault. So you see what's happening. The fissures will widen because this is a scenario, classic scenario for those people who want this to happen, a heads I win, tails you lose kind of a situation. What I'm worried about is these are intelligent people who have fallen for a radical vitriol and a propaganda which they're not supposed to. They're supposed to be intelligent enough to discern and understand that, boss, this is bollocks. It's not happening.
I'll ask a very controversial question of you.
And then they have also, one second, then they have done this over a period of time. See, the Turkey visit happens in 2022. Maulvi Irfan first meets these students in 2018, 2019, before abrogation of 370. He then becomes a Maulvi in Nogam and he's still radicalizing people on behalf of Jaish.
Can I ask you a question?
What's the motivation here?
So I'll ask you a
are
question.
you using a dangerous concoction of 3-4 different strains and
one question. One question. Do you believe in the Taliban's ideology?
No, I don't.
No. Why?
I don't believe in the Taliban's ideology. I don't subscribe to it.
Because it is regressive, it is exclusivist, there are many horrible things about it. Where are its founding ideological roots?
The founding ideological roots are from the Deobandi sect.
Where is Deoband?
Deoband is in Uttar Pradesh.
But why is Deoband here?
But here is the thing.
That's like saying
here is the thing. But
why is a hard line in a Sufi culture?
That's like saying
that exalts the great Sufi saints in this country, Hazrat Balji and many others. One second. Why should we have a hard line?
Yeah.
Ideology.
But here is the thing.
What is it doing in this country?
Here is the thing. For a long time,
all the folks. One second. That's like saying all the folks in Israel who believe in Zionism or in the US, since you brought this up, who believe that abortion cannot be done, should be thrown out of the country. It's the exact same thing that you're saying.
Isn't there a lot of people who say that?
No. Why should they be thrown out of the country?
I'm not saying thrown out of the country. I'm saying regulate these sermons, find out what is going on. Listen, we have an article in our constitution that allows us to profess things. No, hang on. I'm very for that. But there should be some regulation.
Right. Now, since you asked me the question and since you brought up the
Gulf countries, there can be regulation.
You asked me the question,
why can't they be here?
Since you asked me the question and since you raised this question, let me tell you that these are all people who follow the Deobandi sect, but they had broken away the Taliban current leadership. It's only now with Amir Khan Muttaqi that after 40 years, they have actually come back to Darul Uloom Deoband rather than Darul Uloom Haqqaniya that was set up in Peshawar. They had moved. The Deobandi sect itself had moved its loyalties and its roots away to the University of Jihad in Peshawar, and that is Darul Haqqaniya there. They now rejected that and they have come back here. Now in Deoband, are you saying girls are not allowed to go to school in Deoband? They are. Deobandi families, Deobandi sects, they are allowed to study. The Taliban saying that there doesn't endorse that the Deoband here does not do it. And if you were to see Deoband, they may have an Ahle Sunnat and they may have their roots here, but in India they are not as orthodox as that. They have also evolved, they have also embraced customs. Yes, they may be a little closed in terms of the sect. And in this case, there are all multiple firqas. What I am trying to say is there is a political ideology, there is political Islam, there is this whole radical bent which believes that we need to get, convert these Hindus, teach these Hindus a lesson. Hindus need to be subjected to tyranny because they deserve to be ruled over, they don't deserve to rule.
And if it's not Hindus today, it will be
whoever
Jewish
it is.
Tomorrow, and third will be Christian.
See, there is a parallel also in the Abrahamic faith where the crusades have been going on since centuries. That's also been there. Christianity and Islam have been at loggerheads because it's all about who dominates. But this is already written that unless geographically this portion of Hind does not get fully converted, Darul Islam will not happen. Now, there are people who believe this by rote, others who use it strategically as a political tool to brainwash people. My concern is educated individuals who are living in a syncretic society who have been given so much of opportunity, nobody is questioning them, everybody is working with them, and you are an inclusive society, yet you believe this.
Why?
That's the question.
What is the answer to that question? Why?
I'm telling you, because there is a strain of people, and you see, there is so much obfuscation in this country. We only talk about Hindu terror, Hindu terror, Hindu terror, Hindutva terror. We only talk about that. When you start scratching the surface on the other side, people have a problem. They'll shout you down. They'll say you're an Islamophobe. You think all Muslims are like this.
Week
You think all Muslims are like this. Have you seen the backlash?
No, I haven't seen the backlash.
You see the backlash.
I know
because
that
when you
did a
speak
show.
the truth in this country. No, I'm not talking about censorship and all that. I'm just saying you must look at the reaction. We have demonized one bunch of people because they happen to be in the majority in this country to the point where they become apologists for their own faith.
Are you saying that people in the minority community have not been demonized in this country?
There are others who are out there subscribing and enlisting because they have a revanche. This is my view. We don't have to reconcile.
That's fine.
Finish me. Let me finish.
Are you actually saying that there are people who are not demonized in the minority community?
Let me tell you. There are people in the minority faith who have swallowed hook, line and sinker a view of Islam which is incompatible with the modern world. There is that fact.
Correct. But I'll tell you.
have to call them out.
But I'll tell you.
I am tired of people putting this on the Indian state that you must intercede, you must act, you must do this. You want to do madrasa reform, you are labelled. Okay. You want to call for the modernization of syllabus in madrasas, you are labelled. The state can't do this. Moderate Muslims, and there are majority of them are moderates. They need to step up and say
I agree.
This is the mirror, guys. This is where you're going to go.
Moderate Muslims have to do this. Moderate Muslims have to do that. What the state does, nobody's worried about. Come on, it doesn't work.
The state has a role to play. The community has a role to play. But more importantly, I think collectively we as
Today, Omar Abdullah ji has said something very important. He says the time has also come. And J&K governor has also said the time has also come that society and the community must reflect.
Yeah, the community rejects it.
We reject it.
The community has to
openly come out. Yeah. Where are the people not in my name brigade? Where are all these people?
I think somewhere
four people have written a letter and it has become like the cause.
Somewhere
amazing.
Somewhere this whole term for minorities for the Muslim community in India is a misnomer. They are the second largest majority and they should start thinking in that manner. That's my point, because otherwise this whole thing about minority bashing, Muslims being targeted. I'm just saying, look around in Bangladesh, look around in this one in Pakistan and in Afghanistan. Where are Muslims being tortured? Where are Muslims dying by the numbers far more than a nation which is supposed to be tormenting, ostracizing Muslims? I'm just saying this whole narrative is wrong of victimhood of this one is something which has to be stopped. It has to come from within the community, it has to come from within the state, but also it has to come collective as a country. But more importantly, if educated, intelligent minds allow themselves to be radicalized, then we have a problem and we need to figure out how to solve this. And they're radicalized for many, many years. See, somebody from economic background, poor background, does it for money or he's been fed some vitriol, he can be de-radicalized faster or he can be educated faster. They can be educated faster, but people like this... No, people like this.
Well, he was a headmaster's son, very educated, I've been told.
No, Wani means, you know what Wani is? I know. The word Wani is people who have the Vedas on their tongue. That's where it is. So they have Hindu roots. 3 generations back, his great-grandfather was a Hindu. Now, so there is a different direction and a different discussion. So we'll speak about all that too. But thank you very much, gents. Thank you. Thank you. We've run out of time.
We just got started.
This is News18 Network. India's largest news network.
After the defeat, the dissent. It's all out in the open, dirty linen being washed in public. RJD's humiliating defeat in Bihar politics is not enough. But what is worse is now that the Lalu Prasad family seems all divided. And this is after daughter Rohini Acharya quit the party yesterday. She said that she was leaving her family as well as their party. But now she's come out with some very, very damaging allegations against her own family members, directly not taking the name of Tejashwi Yadav, but certainly attacking him. Now, in a series of allegations on the social media platform X, Rohini Acharya alleges that she was humiliated, abused and even assaulted with a slipper. But now there's a massive escalation. Bit by bit, Rohini Acharya is making it worse for the Parivar and the RJD. She has heaped further allegations against the Yadav family, mentions her father's kidney transplant. Rohini Acharya said that she was humiliated over the kidney donation to her father, Lalu Prasad Yadav, in Singapore. She has been mentioned that she was insulted for saving her father's life. She goes on to ask her brother, Tejashwi Yadav, that why didn't you donate your kidney? What she's also said on a social media platform is that they called the kidney dirty, they called her also dirty and accused her of giving a dirty kidney to her father, Lalu Prasad Yadav. My colleagues Brij Mohan Singh as well as Aman Sharma are now joining us. Brij Mohan, was this something which was waiting to happen? Rohini Acharya was certainly not very comfortable with her sidelining within the party. Was this supposed to happen and expected that once the results come out, it's going to be all guns blazing and the drift becomes very clear?
I remember 2024 Lok Sabha elections in Saran Lok Sabha seat. She fought well with Rajiv Pratap Rudy. She lost only by 16,000 votes. And recently, when the campaign was going on for assembly elections, she wanted to go to assembly segments. And I must tell you, she was stopped by the family members, especially the close to Sanjay Yadav and Tejashwi Yadav. They said there is no need for you to go and campaign there in the Saran area, which used to be her go-to area. She wanted to contest 29 elections, Lok Sabha elections in that area. So the kind of influence Sanjay Yadav and Tejashwi used to have. So she reacted. She reacted. She wanted to go during the election campaign when the weather was.
This is GPS, the Global Public Square. Welcome to all of you in the United States and around the world. I'm Fareed Zakaria. Today on the program, the longest federal government shutdown in American history ends.
We're on day 30.
New Trump-Epstein documents come out, and New York City Mayor-elect Mamdani prepares to take office. I'll talk about all of that and more with Bill Maher. Also, the Trump administration skipped out on this year's major global climate conference. What does this mean for halting climate change? I'll ask an expert. And finally, what life lessons can we learn from someone who has broken speed records for running ultra-long races, when that someone also happens to be a great journalist and businessman? I'll ask the Atlantic CEO, Nick Thompson. But first, here's my take. It's hard to see how the government shutdown and reopening is anything other than a defeat for the Democrats. A high-stakes confrontation that ended with their own goals unmet and their message muddled. If they didn't have the leverage or were not willing to use it to prolong the shutdown, then why did they stage it at all? The shutdown reinforced the image of the Democrats as feckless. They promise wonderful-sounding new programs, free childcare, but in fact preside over bloated bureaucracies and inept execution. If America has an affordability crisis, it tends to be in places Democrats govern, like New York, Illinois, and California, which all feature high taxes, soaring housing costs, and stagnant outcomes in basic areas like education and infrastructure. Consider New York City, the country's largest and most important metropolis. The mayor-elect wants to spend more money on shiny new programs. But surely it would be worth first asking, what happened to the money already raised? In 2012, toward the end of Michael Bloomberg's mayoralty, the city's budget was about $65 billion. Today, it is about $116 billion, an increase of more than 75% in just over a decade. Spending has soared while the subway deteriorates, housing costs rise, and public schools remain mediocre, despite spending more than $36,000 per pupil last year, the highest in the nation among major school districts. The result is a paradox that defines much of blue state America. Government that promises more, costs more, but delivers less. New York State mirrors the city. Its spending has risen from roughly $70 billion in 2000 to more than $230 billion today, about twice Florida's budget, even though Florida has several million more residents. When voters see that record, they conclude, not unreasonably, that more money is not the answer. Yet Democrats' instinctive response to every problem remains the same: spend more. The truth is that local government in the U.S. is already living on borrowed time. For decades, states and cities have traded short-term political harmony for long-term fiscal ruin. To keep peace with powerful public sector unions, they promise ever more lavish pensions and benefits, then quietly defer the bill to future taxpayers. Across America, these obligations act like slow-motion fiscal time bombs, invisible for now, but guaranteed to explode. Meanwhile, daily governance suffers. In too many Democratic strongholds, regulation has metastasized into paralysis. Housing is unaffordable because local zoning codes, environmental reviews, rent control, and union carve-outs make construction painfully slow and expensive. California has spent $24 billion on homelessness over 5 years, yet the problem has only worsened. More is spent per mile on subway construction in New York than in any other city on earth. Each new initiative layers another bureaucracy atop the last. Nothing captures urban America's normalized dysfunction more vividly than the miles of rusting scaffolding that hang over New York City's sidewalks. They transform public spaces into dim, dirty tunnels that harbor crime and drive away commerce. No other major city looks like this. Not London, not Paris, not Rome, though they all have buildings that are centuries older. The primary culprit is a 1980 safety law that spawned an industry of contractors and consultants. Every mayor vows reform, none succeeds. Eric Adams tried with little success. Mayor-elect Zoran Mamdani says he'll try too, but his plan is a complicated melange of expedited reviews and new rules, the quintessential Democratic response: process without progress. And it is precisely this instinct, endless process instead of results, that drives voters to tolerate Donald Trump's bluster and bullying. At least he gets things done, they say. Against that image of crude efficiency, Democrats too often appear like dithering technocrats. Americans do not hate government. They hate government that doesn't work. They will support ambitious programs if they believe they will be implemented competently, as they did with the New Deal and the interstate highways. But when government seems incapable of building housing, fixing schools, or balancing budget, even sympathetic voters lose faith. If Democrats want to rebuild that faith, they must rediscover the lost art of simple competence. And they can prove it to the entire nation by governing well in the places, like big cities, where they are in charge. Fix the schools before promising new subsidies. Change housing rules before asking for rent freezes. And tear down the scaffolding. American liberalism once stood for a confident creed that smart policy executed by capable hands could make people's lives better. Americans want that. But they watch Democrats in action and ask, like Casey Stengel more than 60 years ago about the hapless New York Mets, can't anyone here play this game? Go to FareedZakaria.com for a link to my Washington Post column this week. And let's get started.
The bill is passed.
This week, Democrats and Republicans in Congress finally ended the longest government shutdown in U.S. history. But the outcome has left many Democrats furious with their own party for what they see as caving to Republican demands. I asked Bill Maher about this on Friday night after I appeared on his HBO show, Real Time. I should note that HBO and CNN share the same parent company, Warner Brothers Discovery. Bill, pleasure to have you on again.
Great to see you as always, and you're always great on my show.
Thank you, sir. So you feel like the Democrats actually didn't do as badly with the shutdown because they brought health care up. It is an issue that helps them. But tell me, In general, do you think after these midterms, are the Democrats in a good place? I know you worry about this a lot.
Yeah. Well, I notice you in your columns I use the word feckless, which is a term I never heard until the Democrats I never heard that word until the Democrats started being it. And I've never looked it up, but I kind of get what you mean. I kind of get what you mean by it. I think I get it by osmosis, the definition of that word. I mean, I do worry about it. It's funny. We both kind of were harping on the same idea this week, which is that why can't either one of them be normal? That was the end of my show tonight. It made me think of that. We just had the World Series, and there was an 18-inning game. And for the last 9 innings, one whole game, neither side could score. Every inning, they would put men on base, and they couldn't get it done. I was like, that's what this reminds me of. It would be so easy to score points on the other side. All Trump would have to do is stop doing the excesses. Yeah. He is not wrong about a lot of the things he came into office and noticed needed fixing. Now, he goes a little too far with that. You know, he thinks he needs, let's do the Kennedy Center, and, you know, bowling alleys need new, you know, everything he sees he thinks he can fix. But he wasn't wrong about the border. He wasn't wrong NATO should be paying more. He wasn't wrong about certain trade policies that needed to be fixed. He wasn't wrong about colleges being out of control. DEI went too far. Lots of stuff. And he just goes too far with everyone until he actually lost his constituencies on some of the issues like immigration that were so popular. And he showed that you can close the border like that. It wasn't something you needed congressional help for. You could just do it. And he did it. He just did it too far. And people don't like to see people tackled at Home Depot and people they know who've been in this country for a long time. And the economy, the tariffs don't seem to be helping that.
Maybe. But do you think the Democrats are getting that message? I mean, because in these midterms, as you pointed out on your show, mostly the moderates won. I mean,
yes, but again, they just elected a socialist, some would say communist, mayor in New York City, and I see now Seattle, just like they're calling her Mamdani West. So, you know, if we wind up with a situation where very blue cities all around the country have socialist leadership, but that's not where the country is in general, that's not good for the Democratic Party. I said on the show a few weeks ago, if the face of the Democratic Party going into the next election is Mamdani in the East and Katie Porter, who looks like she will be the governor of California here in the West, that's not a great look for the party.
You know who's amazing is the mayor of San Francisco. This guy, I mean, he's doing such a good job of just delivering, of being. He may be the most competent politician in America right now and he has a 73% approval rating. I mean, you get any higher than that, you're in North Korea. Right?
And he's the one who talked Trump out of sending troops to his city. Trump is sending troops to plenty of other cities. Nobody else just got on the phone. I mean, this is my other big theme always, is talk to the guy. He can be talked to, as opposed to the approach of lots of other people of let's go full high school and not have him over at the lunch table. Why, you're going to elevate him? My God, was he going to become president?
But tell me, a lot of people, when they hear you, you know, bashing the Democrats, bashing woke and all that, you still think of yourself fundamentally as somebody on the left.
I never stopped bashing the other side as much as I ever did. Yes, they just became a party that also needed to be bashed.
Could you imagine yourself ever voting Republican?
Of course. But, you know, but they would have to be very different. I mean, they would have to certainly lose the idea of we don't concede elections. And my biggest worry is that they feel that the excesses of the left are so great, that they are so anti-common sense. And again, they're not completely wrong about that. That they are so never met something that was counterintuitive, that they didn't embrace, that they just can't let these people take power. And therefore, even if if democracy has to be sacrificed for hanging on to power, that's what I worry about. That even when Trump passes from the scene as president, will they still keep that idea that we cannot let these people take power? These people who just do not have any idea of common sense. They want to reinvent everything. They are revolutionaries in a country that is not asking for revolution. They're just asking for politicians to fix things. That is my biggest concern. My hope is that Trump, who will not concede an election, when he is no longer on the ballot, but again, we're not even sure because he has talked about running for a third term, which is completely impossible constitutionally, not that that seems to bother him. Maybe we will return to a sense of normalcy. Maybe J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio will go back to what we used to have. But I'm not sure of it.
But people often wonder, like, have you gone over to the other side? You don't think of you still think of yourself.
Those are people who don't listen to me. Those are people who, most people are in their bubbles, or they
watch a clip.
They watch a clip. I did a piece here a few weeks ago about the editorial I did where I bashed both sides, and then the Fox News and the New York Post only read one half of it, exactly one half of it. I was like, what about the other half? What about the part that began, and to my friends on the right? They just completely left that out. So to those people, I can't help you. I speak to a different constituency, people who are open-minded, people who want to hear both sides, and people who want to know the truth about both sides. And if you say, I changed, I didn't change. The world changed. The parties changed. There was much less to make fun of when Obama was president, because Obama was a centrist. That's what I would like to get back to, Obama politics. I mean, he deported a lot of people. He just didn't do it with masks on, like thugs.
Next on GPS, I'll get Mar's thoughts on an issue that Trump just can't shake off: his friendship with the late financier and convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
So, to the question, is he going to lose people from this? Yeah, possibly.
There is one scandal that just won't go away for Donald Trump: his ties to the late financier and sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. And this week, Congress released thousands of pages of documents related to Epstein's case. It has raised some new questions about Epstein's sex trafficking and how much the president knew about it at the time. For more, I'm back with the always provocative Bill Maher, who hosts Real Time on HBO. All right, let's talk about Trump. So, Bill, when you look at what's happening to Trump with the Epstein stuff, and maybe, immigration, he went on Laura Ingraham and said, immigrants are good, and that's caused a flurry on the MAGA right. Do you think Trump, the support that the base gives Trump, which has been so rock solid, is that cracking?
I think it is. I mean, I think he's down to the ride or die. The polls I saw this week, it's in the 30s. 30s is a different animal. 40s, that's normal for a president. It's a tough job. I mean, half the country is always going to hate you or not like what you're doing. When you get down to the 30s, you're down to that group that just will never leave you for whatever reason. I've seen numbers as low as 33. That's a third. Okay, it's not going to get much lower than that. You will never lose that group. But that doesn't help you politically. Then you are kind of a lame duck. Lame duck is when you can't get your own party to go along. I thought this was very indicative. Both Kansas and Indiana balked at his plan for redistricting. He tried to get them both. Now he got Texas to do it in an instant. They were like, great idea, boss. Let's just rig this whole thing. And then California had to, of course, respond, and we did it too. But that's interesting that Kansas and Indiana both said, no, we're not going to do that. And the fact that Marjorie Taylor Greene used the word gaslighting, you can't be gaslighting your people. And as I said today, you can lie to people about a lot of things. You cannot lie to them about their money. They know how much is in their pocket and they know how much they're spending. So to be up there talking about prices had never been lower, it's Baghdad Bob time. And that just, it infuriates people, because not only do they not like not having the money in the pocket and the prices being higher, then they don't like being talked down to and lied to, because they know it.
And what about the Epstein thing? You think because the right has been so fueled by conspiracy theories, and now this is one that they're on the wrong side of.
Well, I mean, it's like Bobby Kennedy got the measles or something. You know, he brought this on, and then it's coming back to haunt him. It's almost Shakespearean, you know, that he brought this up and promised his group when he was running, I'm going to get to the bottom of this, because he knew it was important to them. It wasn't important to him, but he knew it was important to QAnon, which was a huge pillar of the MAGA right, is QAnon. This is something they've believed for a very long time. People who wear red shoes, you know, there's all these things. They've got pictures of me wearing red shoes once, and I'm part of it, and Tom Hanks is one part of it. It's crazy stuff, but that's what somehow animates them, is that it all comes down to this nefarious group that's running the world, and we've certainly seen that a million times before. People think there's this mysterious groups who run the world. Obviously, the Jews come into play here sometimes, because that's something on the right now we see, like a lot of anti-Semitism and, you know, the Rothschilds or whatever it is.
And it's all part of that conspiratorial.
All part of that. And but it was always about pedophilia, that the people, these kind of nefarious, horrible people who run the world, this shady group of this cabal, they are pedophiles at heart. And, you know, eating babies, remember that was something that eating babies the Democrats were doing. Look, it would not animate me as an issue, but it animates that side of it. And also the people who are probably not that aware of that kind of stuff, or they're aware of it, but they're not in on it. People like Nancy Mace and Marjorie Taylor Greene. I mean, I talked to Marjorie here. She did not seem like the crazy person that they presented. We don't agree on a lot of stuff, but she, you know, as I say about everybody, they're a monster till you talk to them. And then they're not quite that monstrous. But, you know, and Lauren Boebert, these are women, especially Nancy Mace, who's had the experience with being assaulted with men who act this way. And it's just too personal. I just don't see them giving up on this issue. So to the question, is he going to lose people from this? Yeah, possibly.
Well, that's big, right? That's the beginning
very
of the
big.
crack.
Yeah.
Bill Maher, pleasure to have you on.
Pleasure to be with you always.
Next on GPS, has the world stopped caring about climate change? That's the impression you would get from some of the news coverage. We'll explore. Representatives from almost every country on the planet descended on Belém, Brazil this week to attend COP30, the world's most important climate conference. But one delegation was conspicuously absent, the United States of America. It's not surprising given President Trump's history pulling out of the Paris Climate Agreement and calling climate change
it's the greatest con job ever
at the UN in September. But it begs the question, what is the future of the fight against climate change without America's involvement? Joining me now to discuss this is Jessica Green, author of the book Existential Politics: Why Global Climate Institutions Are Failing and How to Fix Them. Welcome, Jessica. So help us make sense of where things are, because right now they're all meeting in Brazil, but many countries, certainly in the developing world, are scaling back the commitments they've made. Not just the United States, obviously dramatically under Trump, but much of Europe is doing the same thing, right?
Yes. So everybody seems to be scaling back. The Europeans less so than other countries, but the developing world is basically saying, look, we would love to decarbonize, but we need your help. We need money and technology from the developed world. And until we see that, we can only go so far. So things are slowing down, but I don't think that means we have lost the battle on climate. I think there's a lot of other steps that countries can take, both within and more importantly, beyond the COP.
So tell us, what are you optimistic about? Like, what you know, you said that there's, you know, the fight isn't lost. What do you look at as signs of optimism?
I think there are a few. First, countries, there are many countries that are trying to decarbonize, and they're figuring out how to do that. Number two, as everyone will always say, the costs of renewables have fallen dramatically over the last several decades, and that's making the business decision for climate somewhat easier than it had been in the past. And number three is that this is increasingly becoming a question of statecraft and economic futures for countries. So this isn't about whether you like trees, or whether you think emissions are important, but rather, what is the economic future of your country going to be? And that really resonates with policymakers and governments.